change California's economy in the way that young people dollars a year, CEOs, tax.
Porter.
We posted up. It's the third and final California governor's debate. Let's fucking go.
He supports this tax. You do not. Why not?
Because I support good ideas, not things that help me dodge political potholes due to my own background. This billionaire's tax is simply not good tax policy. And anybody who has watched me in Congress take on bank CEOs, take on pharma CEOs, challenge them for the fact that they're can't make ends meet while they're pocketing $26 million a year, knows that I will speak truth. And here is the truth. This tax
Tell them the truth, Katie.
is going to fundamentally change California's economy in the way that young people and the working people of California need. It's a one-time tax, but we don't have one-time revenue needs. It taxes billionaires as if half.
I'm telling everyone to pull up right now, but we watching the California governor's debate, number 3, the third and final. They're going to send the shots.
When we have all kinds of revenue problems coming at us from our own decisions and Donald Trump. So yes, to a progressive tax code. Yes, to the wealthy paying more, but this tax is about cheap political points. It is not about really fundamentally changing California's economy for the better. That's going to take.
She's capped. She don't want the wealth tax at all.
Points your response.
No. I have said that billionaires like me should pay more taxes and the big corporations should pay more taxes.
Excuse me,
and
you
that's
literally
why
said.
If this proposition is on the ballot in November, I'll vote for it. But going forward, we do need to go further. This is a one-time tax, and it also doesn't spread.
She ain't in favor.
The government
At non-zero TV said, turn up the baseball, please.
Okay, got you.
Go to education and teachers and students, which is a critical need in the state of California. The
Bro,
tax
why
I
is this
propose
shit
is to close
on?
a corporate real estate tax loophole.
Thank you,
More
sir.
money.
At
and it's spread
non-zero
out.
TV here at SAT.
Oh,
I'm
wait.
confused. Do you support the billionaire's tax that is going to be on the ballot in November, yes or no?
Katie,
Is this better?
just
This is
said
as loud as
I
it goes
will
for some
vote for it
reason.
if it's on the ballot in November.
So
And so what I've said is,
But you just
it
said it wasn't a
doesn't
good idea.
go far enough. That in fact,
Let me
it is a
see.
one-time tax, and it also
I don't know why
doesn't
the fuck
spread
this
the
shit is
money
so quiet.
throughout the government. Look,
Let me weigh
we
in.
have an
I'm the
education
only
system
candidate
that
that's actually
money.
balanced
Let me
the
see.
budget.
We're going to bring Sheriff Bianco in first, and then we'll get to you, Mr. Mayor. Sheriff Bianco.
Thank you. So these Democrat policies of
So
tax
these
everybody to death,
Yeah, I don't know
make
why.
them leave,
This shit is quiet as fuck. They just made it, but this is as loud as I can get it.
leaving California is because of
It's
their
crazy,
horrific
honestly.
policies. I agree with Katie that this is a horrific tax bill, but she is wrong on one thing. This is not a billionaire tax bill. You just have to read it and read what it is.
Bro's gonna be blaming the Democrats the whole fucking
The
night.
consequences of their decisions and their policy that they love talking about. I am the one that deals with it. And this, the 140,000 people that are paying 50% of the taxes are going to leave. And then the wording of that bill makes the middle
I'm gonna see if there's a
class and the
different
lower
stream
middle
if this shit
class
is
make up all
why
the
this shit is
taxes.
so
The
low.
next question goes to you, Mr. Mayor Villaraigosa. In the last 7 years, Fortune 500 companies such as Oracle, Chevron, Charles Schwab, Palantir have all moved their headquarters.
Nah, it's
out
the
of
only
California.
stream.
Mayor Villaraigosa, your opponent, Congresswoman Porter here, wants to raise taxes on
Man, we don't want Palantir in this motherfucker. This is a good thing.
more businesses leaving the state.
Yes, but let me just say, I'm the only candidate
Dang.
More businesses
on this
leaving the
stage
state.
that's actually balanced two state budgets with a surplus and a tax cut. And I could tell you this, we over-rely on the upper income tax. That's why you have feast and famine virtually every year. So
What?
the problem with
He's trying to say that we tax the rich too much. That's crazy.
If I believe that people that make that kind of money ought to pay more. In fact, when
Wait,
I'm governor,
what?
People like Tom, who want to pay more, will be able to do that. But at the end of the day, the federal government should do it because people are leaving,
Twin, you're not gonna be
and
governor.
they've been leaving because of the threat of this tax. Just as businesses have been leaving because of the high tax state
Uh-oh.
that we are.
Congresswoman Porter, your response in terms
At
of your tax
non-zero
plan.
TV
Yeah,
said,
look, I
try
think
turning
all
down your
taxes
mic
should be
ball and
progressive.
turn up total
And I think
output
that
ball.
is a core.
Just a thought.
Let me see.
Yeah, look, Where I differ with my Democratic colleagues is they're all talking about how to raise revenue, make government bigger.
At Not Zero ZTV said California is full of retarded
budgets were that he managed. I'm interested in making government better. The answer isn't always bigger. And
Is this a little bit better? I turned up the desktop audio a little bit, like the actual audio.
We got thousands of homes under construction. We moved thousands of people indoors and led the state in reducing homelessness.
Unless it made no difference, but I think it might have.
Big city in the country, reduced gun violence by 71%. Californians are tired of the more of the same.
I don't know why the CNN, like the debate streams are always quiet as shit.
Candidates who are embracing Donald Trump's cruel and ineffective policies.
Let's go, Mr. Hilton, to you, and then we'll get Secretary Becerra in for his response. Mr. Hilton, disqualifying is what Mayor Mahan said.
It is.
There's a very simple truth, which
I'm like
everyone
dark
in
as hell right
California knows, which
At
is that
Not Zero
taxes are too
ZTV said
high.
it seems
And
better,
we need
yeah.
taxes to be lower.
Cool.
And they're especially too high for working people in California. You got people on 70.
We got the bald British dude. We really do have some crazy ass candidates, yo.
9.3% state income tax. That is higher than the top rate in most other states. That's why my plan eliminates state income tax under 100 grand. And by the way, if you think that it can't get worse in California,
At Not Zero
I've got two
ZTV
words
said
for
got you fan.
Tom Steyer. Under Tom Steyer, the taxes will be higher. Gas.
I straight up, I turned it up even more too, just in case.
Go back to Becerra and Mr. Steyer.
I do think it's rich to hear someone talk about $3 gas who is owned by Donald Trump, who has driven up the gas price by at least $1.50.
That's true.
And I do think it's rich for some.
This is Trump's blood boy right here.
Who's kicking?
Come on,
1
you gotta
to
attack
3
people, Steyer.
million
Let's
people
go.
off Medi-Cal, the poorest people, most vulnerable people in California, so that he can lower the taxes on the richest Americans and the biggest corporations. The truth of the matter is, what I stand for is shared prosperity, real growth, supporting.
Tom came out swinging. Let's go.
It work so that the people in California get what they need.
Thank you.
And going after corporate special interests is the way we're going to drive down costs.
Thank you, Mr. Steyer. Secretary Becerra, Mayor Mahan suggested that you're
Mr. Chevron
interested
himself.
in growing the size of government. He says he wants to cut it. Your response
I didn't
to
say
that?
I want to cut it. I said I want to use the revenue
What
we
the
have today to
fuck?
make government better.
All
We
right.
need to demand Sacramento do better before we ask.
I don't know why that shit just tweaked out.
Better before we ask working people to pay more. All of Tom Steyer's
At Not
proposals
Zero
will just
ZTV said
increase
person
costs.
shrugging emoji
Secretary
CA
Becerra.
needs some Trump Doge TBH.
Mayor Mahan should take a look at my record and you'll realize that the largest health enterprise in the world,
Yeah, I mean, we're cutting, but we barely even have
because
shit.
we have to make
so
sure we're
cutting
doing
would fuck us
everything
over,
to
probably.
improve the health care for 333 million Americans. And we balanced our budget 4 years in a row. So, Matt, here's the thing. I've been able to balance budgets much larger than your city of San Jose.
All I know is I do not want this motherfucker right here, gang. Like, I do not
At
want
Not
the
Zero
dude.
ZTV said energy costs are out the roof.
Should pay their
Yeah,
fair
I mean,
share.
the energy
No one
costs are
complained that a
crazy as
CEO
fuck,
was
for
making
real.
more than 1,000 times more than their line workers is paying their fair share.
It depends where you are, obviously, though, because if you're in NorCal, like in the Bay Area, you got PG&E, which is a whole monopoly. But then in LA, like we have, it's like not a private company; it's like
Pay
government
full
company.
California and U.S. taxes
Or
on absolutely everything.
government.
Thank you, Secretary Becerra. Mr. Hilton, I'll let you respond to that, and I have a question for you, Mr. Steyer, after that.
I don't want to respond to silly name calling, but I'd like to actually respond to something.
Trump is bro's dad. He do be cowtowing like a motherfucker.
Difference between us. She said
Chad
something
be
very
crashing
revealing,
out.
which is the only way really that California's economy has been growing in the last few years is through illegal immigration. And I just don't think that's the right way for us to be growing. I think we need to help small businesses create jobs and opportunity, and for Californians to be able to earn more and live the...
That is definitely not fucking accurate, bro. We got Silicon Valley in this motherfucker. All these AI companies.
That's how we should be growing our economy, not by illegal immigration.
Congresswoman Porter?
I mean, given that you're an immigrant and you added to our population and we're all having to live with the consequences of that decision.
I don't know. I don't want to be part of the crown. Bro, gonna have us fucking part of the UK and
I
shit.
wasn't referring to, I was saying that immigration has been a major source of growth in California's economy, and that is true.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Mr. Steyer, I've got a question for you on immigration, because
Go talk.
want California's Attorney General to be able to hold both ICE agents and their leadership criminally,
He's going to arrest ICE
liable
agents
for what you say is, quote, violent illegal conduct on the job. Does that include the former DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, who oversaw the ICE operations in Los Angeles last year?
Look, the governor of California should hold people accountable who break the laws of California, specifically including ICE agents and the people who send them to...
He's going to send Kristi Noem to the damn gulag. Fuck.
...them to racially profile, which is illegal, and use violence against Californians, which is illegal. And it should go up the chain to the supervisors, right up to Stephen Miller. If he's sending people to racially profile and hurt Californians or kill Californians, he should be held liable. It is not legal for federal agents to come to California and break the law. It is absolutely critical that California's governor does stand up for everyone in California. That in fact, ICE to me is a criminal operation. I've said all along, we should abolish ICE. It's breaking the law. It is coming here deliberately to break the law. And that's why I'm saying we should hold them accountable.
I wonder what the polling on this type of shit is. Fuck.
Yes, I do. I don't know. I would go all the way up the chain. I've gone as far as Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller should be held accountable for what the ICE agents do in California that he sends.
But just to clarify, since Kristi Noem was the Senate-confirmed Department of Homeland Security Secretary, do you believe that she is someone who should be prosecuted?
If she has given the orders to break.
I mean, Trump didn't even save her ass. They're going to send her ass to the gulag, bro.
Your response to that?
That's crazy.
No one has broken the law in California. And this is why we fight in the streets.
Keep in mind, this dude stole mad
burning down
ballots
Los Angeles
and shit.
because politicians like this sit and lie to everyone. They get them all infuriated up with emotion because they don't want to tell the truth. ICE agents are enforcing the law, and sanctuary state policy.
Yeah, my bad for pausing. I try to change the volume and then it pauses on accident. I'm not gonna
find these
do it.
criminals, and I want Mr. Villaraigosa to tell the mother of the 14-year-old in my county that is dead because of an illegal immigrant that had been deported 3 times because of DUIs that sanctuary state policy keeps us safe. I don't think she's going to agree with you. And the mother of my dispatcher that was killed is not going to agree with you.
Mayor Villaraigosa, do you want to
If an undocumented worker killed somebody,
I mean,
he should go to jail.
We don't be talking about the people that
It's
aren't
too late, don't you
undocumented
think?
that be killing
How about
people,
the 3
though.
DUIs before that? No,
Or do you want to be the bully that you always are?
No,
You know, you're an oath keeper.
Oh,
We all know that. And I'm very
hit him with the
proud.
oath keeper.
I'm very proud of
Well,
it.
I'm
And
sorry.
guess what?
That's
You're
not
gonna
good.
Swear an oath, and you swore an oath. You should know what you were
Well,
swearing
I'm
and be
sorry.
proud of defending it.
I don't think an oath keeper is qualified to
Talk
be
your
God
shit.
I don't think you know
Talk
what
your
an oath
shit.
keeper
But let
is.
me answer the question.
I don't know why no one else has
said,
brought this up.
If an undocumented person committed murder, they should be held accountable. They should go to jail. And you keep on saying that sanctuary prevents violent criminals from
No,
being
I didn't.
turned over.
I said it prevents
In fact,
criminals.
as I said earlier.
I said it prevents criminals. Don't lie for me.
In fact, as I said earlier, thousands have been turned over since 2019.
Obviously not enough.
Steve Hilton, let me be clear.
Dude, I don't know why no one else has brought up the fact that he's an oath keeper, which is, you know,
The Bay
they
Area
stormed the Capitol and
Institute,
shit.
The UC Merced study, immigrants, if we took them all out,
They're about to go
undocumented,
crazy.
It would be a
This dude just wants to be part of it.
$274
Thank you,
billion
Mr. Mayor.
hit to the
Sheriff
California
Bianco,
economy.
just to follow up on what you were just saying there, and you said you're a proud oath keeper. Are you referring to the group?
I've sworn an oath 3 times to defend my Constitution.
Taking an oath and
Yes,
as your
and
job.
everybody that wants to, like, again, lie and emotionally get all spun up about the Oath Keeper organization. I just would, before you do that, and I know none of you have, I want you to go read the mission statement of the Oath Keeper mission statement and the
I saw them on CNN attacking the Capitol.
And the ACLU. I saw a politician molesting kids. Does that mean you molest kids?
What?
Exactly. Don't pull
the
those
fuck does that even
statements out and
mean?
expect to not be
You're
called
an
out.
Oath Keeper.
Sheriff Bianco,
You have no
clear.
reason to.
There is
you're not
absolutely
qualified to be governor. of
This is
California.
crazy.
I am extremely proud of swearing an oath to defend my Constitution against politicians like this.
And do you still consider yourself a member of that group, to be clear?
No.
Okay, thank you, Sheriff Bianco. Secretary Becerra, on the question itself,
How come
do you
no one else
also
brought this
support
up?
prosecuting the leadership of ICE?
I think we should police Donald Trump's masked mercenary force that they call ICE. I think we should prosecute any of the forces that violate the law. And I think we should jail anyone who has violated the law. That goes all the way to the top.
I
If
agree.
anyone has violated the laws of California, they should serve time.
And I'm telling you, no
Sheesh.
one has.
That's, there are 2 people who are dead in Minneapolis because they were simply doing
Don't
their
lie.
civic duty and being able to
Your
act
civic
under the
duty is
Constitution.
bringing a gun and fighting with cops. Your civic duty is to try and run over cops. Come on.
Well,
You've already been called
lot
out
of
by
Oath
your other
Keepers.
districts.
Yeah, bro's moving like a bull in a china shop right
Just
now.
be honest.
Sheriff Bianco, as the member of law enforcement here, last week the Department of Justice sued the state of New Jersey because the governor there signed into law a mask ban for ICE agents.
Ooh.
A similar law in California was
Yeah, they're
blocked
starting
last
the
month.
mask
Do you believe
ban.
that ICE agents who are conducting immigration enforcement should be able to wear a mask when they're on the job?
I believe that the state of California doesn't get to dictate what they do. Would I do I allow my deputies to do that in certain circumstances? So
Bruh.
the answer would be, I guess, yes, because depending on the circumstances that the federal government has jurisdiction over that, they can decide what they want to do. My deputies doing their work don't do that, but there are some circumstances where deputies and police officers would do that. So if we're honest and talk about what this really does and what it is, everyone would come up with a logical answer. But when you talk about emotions and you fire off emotions and untruths, I think they get offended with lies, but untruths, then you just confuse and.
Long story short, he wants the fucking mask. Just say it, bro.
Look, I was just.
Yeah, that's a chilling answer.
There is.
Yeah, I mean, look, we can all agree that we should have a secure border. If you're committing serious and violent crime, deportation is the consequence. But I was just in the fashion district on the side of downtown Los Angeles, where I met with small business owners who have tears in their eyes because they don't have customers.
Palantir final boss
Because
right here.
Donald Trump's cruel and indiscriminate enforcement based on the color of people's skins, the language they're speaking, it has terrorized the community. It's targeting the Latino community. It is disproportionately
Thank
impacting
you,
our
Mayor
immigrant
Mahan.
neighbors.
Congresswoman Porter, what's your view? What's your response?
Donald Trump sucks.
Damn.
And I don't think that anyone who doesn't see that he is targeting and hurting Californians and won't stand up for everybody who is counting on them to be their leader and keep them safe has no business being governor.
Congresswoman Porter, thank you for that. Mr. Hilton?
Antonio mentioned
Quick mask.
me earlier and said I just recently arrived. It's true. I arrived here in 2012
Yeah, I
with my
don't-
wife and my 2 sons. But what's interesting?
How do we know
is
he's not a
that,
British agent?
I don't think there's an appreciation of the difference between legal and illegal immigration. I've spent many, many times right here in East LA, where we are, with legal immigrants, with families.
He's a Fox News host, so you know he got that shit real quick.
The unfairness that we're seeing in California, where you have illegal immigrants who are getting free
Yeah.
benefits.
Bro got hella red flags, one of which he could be a fucking agent of the crown, the other which he's a fucking Donald Trump's blood
don't
boy.
worry.
We are not
It's
getting
kinda cooked,
fairness,
twin.
and we need to restore fairness in our system.
Thank you, Mr. Hilton. And candidates, don't worry, we have many more questions to come up from both of us ahead and much more of CNN's California governor primary debate.
Okay,
right after
okay.
this.
Yo, that shit. Oh, fuck. Was that my fucking phone? Or was that my hard drive? Okay, good. That wasn't my phone. That was my hard drive. Yo, that shit was crazy. Yo, that shit was crazy as fuck. Chad Bianco, we don't know. He's not a Brit agent. For real. Yo, Chad Bianco straight up looked like he was about to air this whole.
Anyway, bro, this guy, I hate this guy talking, but I kind of like him talking too, because this gives you an idea of what these voters look like in California. This guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. He clearly lives in his mom's house. He's stealing from CNN right now, but he's all over the. He doesn't care about the law. He doesn't care about like safety. Has no kids, nothing like that. So he's bashing Chad Bianco. Everyone up there is basically saying, "Look, you vote Democrat, you get 4 more years of Gavin Newsom." We know that's bad, but he doesn't know why he's supporting any of these people. He's like, "Tell him, Katie, she's the worst candidate on the stage, polling at like 4% or 9%." Like Steve Hilton and Chad Bianco, they're the only two who are actually talking common sense. Vieira Gosa, he shouldn't even be on stage because he's not even getting 1% of the vote. So, but they're only letting him up there because the Democrat Party is using him as the guy who's going to try to smear Chad Bianco, smear Steve Hilton, and make them look bad so they can move Xavier Becerra into the forefront of the race. Here's the problem. Xavier Becerra he worked for Gavin Newsom. So, and he gave Gavin Newsom an A rating on how he handled homelessness and the California economy. What do you think he's going to do? And I keep telling people, like, I'm not trying to make this about race, but people have to understand something. Hispanic people will support him because he's Hispanic. The same way black people will try to support somebody because they're black. Here's the issue. Illegal immigrants are not subject to our taxes. So they operate under a black market. They might work a job as a dishwasher, but then they have like a burrito stand or they go do cut lawns. They're getting paid cash or check. They cash that, they send that to Mexico. That money is not on the books. So of course, a lot of them will be like, look, it don't matter, and I pray to God that the Hispanics who are like legal citizens see through this guy, Xavier Becerra, and see that he's just Gavin Newsom 2.0 because they are subjected to our tax policies. But I'll tell you one thing, the Democrats will never give you an agenda. They will never give you policy. Everything is, oh no, Donald Trump, Katie Porter. Donald Trump sucks. Okay, Katie, but what are you going to do to help California out of this mess? I don't know. Tom Steyer. Katie Porter's best idea. Let's tax the billionaires. We already know where that's going. We can look at Chicago. We can look at New York. We could look at Seattle, Washington. We know what's going to happen. You're going to tax them. They're already leaving. So you're going to tax them. The founder of Google, he's leaving. He's gone. Gavin Newsom was like depressed because the founder of Google said he's leaving. He's moving to Florida, right? Gavin Newsom they said he was visibly ill and said he was cold and he was hungry and he needed to go home. That's why Gavin Newsom, our current governor, as bad as he is, he doesn't support the billionaire tax because he understands if I lose their tax revenue, this state is done. See, so he said it's going to get vetoed. So why would the people running, they give him an A or a B, but then they want to support something that he doesn't support because they're just trying to go more extreme. They got to keep telling you, and really they're probably not going to do the billionaire tax, but they say whatever they can to keep you voting for them. Why don't you just be real? Okay, no billionaire tax. Hey, I don't really know exactly, but I need to get in and look at things and see what I can do. Chad Bianco, Steve Hilton have the best platform. Chad Bianco especially because I look at him like he's a sheriff, so he's a Republican sheriff who's already been battling the Democrats and their bad policies. Wait, let's turn this back up.
Governor of California, as we all know.
Why the fuck did that shit sound like a demon spawn?
Raising email with the subject line F Trump. And you're not censoring it like I am right now. And you went on to say, quote, "That's right, F Trump. Together we're going to kick Trump's ass in November." Will F Trump be your guiding principle in dealing with the president?
When Donald Trump hurts California, as he has again and again, then I will absolutely stand up to him.
In this race, you could probably get away with this, but in a national race, probably not. You need to have more than just fuck Trump.
Victims here in California, he has made it clear that he is seeking to specifically punish California.
Will fuck Trump be your guiding principle?
Green energy projects here that create good, high-paying jobs while he's allowing them to continue in other states. We absolutely have to be clear about the risk that Donald Trump presents to Californians and to our economy and to our ability to change California for the better. So if he...
Yeah, yo, if you were on earlier, then you saw that the sheriff was motherfucking proud that he was an oath keeper and stormed the Capitol.
We'll have to work with the administration and with the president that the American people elected to get good results for Californians. And by the way, my attitude will be to work with the president regardless of party to get good results for Californians. Now, it so happens that we have a president who has endorsed me for governor, and we've discussed how I can work with his team to lower gas.
He got endorsed by Trump. So if you want a British agent of the crown and an agent of a pedophile cabal, that's your guy.
Forest management to get the fraud and the waste out of our state budget so we can cut taxes. These are all practical ways we can work together to help everyone in California.
Secretary Becerra, what's your view of that as someone who served in the federal government?
Well, I served and we helped the state of California when I was at the Department of Health and Human Services. But when I was Attorney General, when Trump was president the first time, we took
Mr. Chevron.
Time he tried to attack our state, when he tried to force us to do things that were against the law, when he tried to deny us our resources, we took him on. That's why I had to go toe-to-toe with him in court over 120 times. And most of those cases, we were able to win. I will tell you this, whether it was on women's health care, whether it was protecting immigrants' rights, whether it was defending our environmental laws, we took him on, and because Donald Trump doesn't understand the laws very well, we were able to beat him over and over, including taking the Affordable Care Act all the way to the Supreme Court. We were able to beat him over and over, including taking the Affordable Care Act all the way to the Supreme Court and defending it.
Mayor Mahan, do you believe that F. Trump is a good guiding principle as the governor of California in working with the federal government? Do you believe that F. Trump is a good guiding principle as the governor of California in working?
I was pulling up the second link because someone had asked for it. Yo, just go to the TV app.
Funding for our immigrant neighbors who are under attack. We've prohibited.
Together, we're going to kick Trump's ass in November. Will F. Trump be your guiding principle in dealing with the president?
When Donald Trump hurts California, as he has again and again, then I will absolutely stand up to him. 100%. He has denied wildfire funding to help disaster victims here in California. He has made it clear that he is seeking to specifically punish California in canceling green energy projects here that create good, high-paying jobs while he's allowing them to continue in other states. We absolutely have to be clear about the risk that Donald Trump presents to Californians and to our economy and to our ability to change California for the better. So if he's going to attack California, yeah, F him.
Mr. Hilton?
I think the next governor of California will have to work with the administration and with the president that the American people elected to get good results for Californians. And by the way, my attitude will be to work with the president regardless of party to get good results for Californians. Now, it so happens that we have a president who has endorsed me for governor, and we've discussed how I can work with his team to lower gas prices in California by opening up energy production, to reduce wildfire risk by proper forest management, to get the fraud and the waste out of our state budget so we can cut taxes. These are all practical ways we can work together to help everyone in California.
Secretary Becerra, what's your view of that as someone who served in the federal government?
Well, I served and we helped the state of California when I was at the Department of Health and Human Services. But when I was Attorney General, when Trump was president the first time, we took him on. Every time he tried to attack our state, when he tried to force us to do things that were against the law, when he tried to deny us our resources, we took him on. That's why I had to go toe-to-toe with him in court over 120 times. And most of those cases, we were able to win. I will tell you this, whether it was on women's health care, whether it was protecting immigrants' rights, whether it was defending our environmental laws, we took him on, and because Donald Trump doesn't understand the laws very well, we were able to beat him over and over, including taking the Affordable Care Act all the way to the Supreme Court and defending it.
Mayor Mahan, on that fundraising email and that phrasing that the Congresswoman used, I mean, do you believe that F. Trump is a good guiding principle as the governor of California in working with the federal government?
Well, Caitlin, look, my approach is to fight for our values. As mayor of San Jose, I've sued the Trump administration multiple times, increased funding for our immigrant neighbors who are under attack. We've prohibited ICE from using city property as a staging area. But I will also never forget that the best resistance is delivering results, showing that California's progressive values work in practice. That's what I've done as mayor. One of the only people on this stage who can point to real results that matter in people's lives. Safest big city in the country, 1/3 fewer homeless people, thousands of homes under construction.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thousands of new small businesses, real results, not a lot of rhetoric. That's not going to beat Donald Trump.
Sheriff Bianco.
Yeah, I promise every single person out there that you're not going to hear one word from me about President Trump, President Biden, or anything else, because I'm going to be the only one on the stage that's actually going to be the governor of California for Californians. And I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you and blame somebody else for our problems that have been absolutely caused by 70 years of Democrat rule in the Assembly and Senate and 16 years of one-party rule by their policies, their things that they put in place that have destroyed the ability to live in California.
Thank you, Sheriff Bianco. Mr. Steyer, what's your take on this?
Look, I started an organization in 2017 to impeach Donald Trump because I've been in enough boardrooms to know a crook when I see one, and he is a crook. And what we can see that he's doing now is he's sending in ICE agents to racially profile and harass Californians. He started a war that's driving up our gas prices, is taking tens of billions, hundreds of billions of dollars that we need for schools and for healthcare away from us. He's kicking people off healthcare. The truth of the matter is the governor of California is supposed to stand up for Californians against anyone. And that is exactly the only thing that Donald Trump,
thank you, Mr. Steyer.
The only thing he respects is strength. He's a bully. And the only thing you can do is stand up to him.
All right. Now let's turn more about the healthcare crisis in America. Millions of people are dropping insurance coverage after Congress allowed Obamacare subsidies to expire. In California, new enrollments are down 32%. Secretary Becerra, in late March, you said you'd, quote, deliver a state-run, publicly funded healthcare program for every Californian. But in a recent meeting, you reportedly told a group of doctors that you are not supporting single payer right now. So which is it? Would you push for single payer as governor or not?
Alex, let's be clear. I've been consistent for over 30 years. When I was in Congress, I talked about how Medicare for all is probably the most efficient way that we can do healthcare, and I have always been there. I haven't changed. And so those reports were inaccurate. I continue to be for Medicare for all, and I can show you how I have actually expanded healthcare because those very subsidies that you mentioned are what help us reach record levels of Obamacare coverage. More than 24.5 million people under our watch were able to get their health insurance coverage. That is now going down because Trump has denied people the chance to have those subsidies. And the Republicans and Mr. Hilton, who has been endorsed by Donald Trump, haven't said whether they would fight to help those Californians regain their coverage. And so, Steve, will you support having those tax subsidies for Obamacare returned to those Californians who are losing their insurance today?
We didn't get an answer.
We're gonna. First of all, I just want to clarify real quick, and then we'll get you guys in. So, as governor, you're pushing for a single payer system in California?
We should try to get to a Medicare for all program. And while we are continuing to work in that direction, we should make sure we are expanding coverage, because the most important thing we have to do is give people peace of mind that they can afford their health care, and that we will continue to give it to more families.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Steyer.
Look, I am for single payer. Absolutely, because the only way we can deliver health care as a right at a cost that California can afford.
And
that's
Hilton
why the
are
nurses
normal
support
and what
me. I
ass
was with
cheek.
them this morning. They know that I will fight for single payer until we get it. And maybe those reports were wrong, Javier. But the truth is, the group you are with, the California Medical Association, is the strongest group against single payer in the state. And they just spent the maximum amount of money. They maxed out to your campaign after that meeting. So somebody didn't understand something, because they are supporting you with the max amount of money that they can give.
Secretary Becerra responds, then Congresswoman Porter.
Yeah. So a guy who is funding his campaign to a tune of over $150 million with profits made from oil companies, from helping fund private for-profit prisons that are detaining immigrants in California, has a real short memory span of how to make sure this place works. I continue to enjoy the support of healthcare sectors throughout California, doctors, nurses. I've got the endorsement of nurses as well, and I will continue to fight to make sure everyone has access to good quality healthcare in California, as I proved it when I was Secretary of Health and Human Services.
Congresswoman Porter.
Well, golly gee, I also have the endorsement of nurses, so three's a crowd. The question, I think, is trying to aim at, do you support CalCare, California having its own state-run single-payer system, yes or no?
Is that a question?
Sure, go ahead.
As I said, when I was Secretary of Health and Human Services, I was able
like
to.
my
So
time
is that,
back.
is that,
Oh my
is that,
God.
is that a yes or a no?
I'm answering the question.
Okay.
So the most important thing about having a Medicare for all plan is that it includes everyone, for all. And what we have to do is get to the point where we are covering everyone with something like Medicare for all. So I am absolutely for Medicare for all.
Congresswoman,
and we will get there. We'll build towards it because that's the way you get folks covered. That's the way I did it.
Congresswoman Porter, then Mary Ragosa. Congresswoman.
Covering everyone with something is not single payer. It's not even federal Medicare for all. But you won't say that whether you support California having its own state-run single-payer system. Look, Tom ran against single-payer in his presidency before he changed his mind and has decided to run for single-payer. I'm not disputing that, Tom. I'm making sure everyone knows. And you've been consistent on this point. You've been consistent.
I'm going to answer that.
But I want Javier to answer the question. Do you support California having its own single-payer system? Yes or no?
And Katie, the answer there is that Californians don't care what you call it so long as they have affordable health care that they can use to take their child to the doctor or the hospital.
Well, I'd
when
like to
they
use
need
my
it.
magic wand and give everybody affordable health.
It's Mary Ragosa's turn. Go ahead, sir.
You know, I believe in that healthcare.
Man, we could talk over this dude.
That it should be universal, affordable, and high quality. But the fact is, Javier, I've been in enough forums with you where I've heard you say you're for it, and I've heard you say you're against it.
I've never said I'm against it.
Hold it.
Hey, we could ignore Villaraigosa. He's not even polling at 1%. I'll talk over him. Guys, Villaraigosa's only up here to try to bash the Democrats. He's out polling at 1%. No one's going to elect him. Javier, he is Gavin Newsom 2.0. He gave Gavin Newsom A+ or A- rating for his management of the homelessness and of the California economy. He is literally business as usual. And he's speaking to a certain demographic, illegal immigrants within California and the people who sympathize with them, because that's why he's saying it doesn't matter what you call it. He's not for single payer. He's for working Californians to continue to pay for the health care of illegal immigrants. And if you do single payer, guess what that'll do? That'll immediately put us in more of a budget deficit, because guess why? You will have a whole segment of the population of California who won't be paying anything into the single payer health system. So it's impossible to do with so many illegal immigrants.
HHS, we had expanded coverage to more Americans than ever in the history, and we had dropped the cost of care for millions of Americans under Obamacare. And those are facts.
It's $550 billion price
Mr.
tag.
Hilton, to you, the idea of single-payer health care.
Just listen to these Democrats arguing about whether to go left or even further left, when that's the direction that's got us into this mess. The highest cost, the highest taxes in the country. I'm the only person here with actual experience of single-payer healthcare, both as a patient and as a policymaker. As a patient,
take more
it nearly
vitamins.
Killed me. That's another story we don't have time for. As a policymaker, you end up with the worst patient satisfaction, cost that you can't afford, taxes sky high to pay for it. It is a total disaster. And the actual way we deal with healthcare in this state is to at least stop spending $20 billion a year on free healthcare for illegal immigrants who shouldn't even be in the country in the first place.
Oh my God, here we go.
As a UK citizen before moving to California.
Immigrants.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, once again, we're hearing a lot of rhetoric at the extreme ends of the political spectrum here. When the secretary left his position, healthcare spending was a bigger share of GDP than ever before, pushing families to the brink. It's an administrative nightmare, as everybody knows if they've ever tried to get an insurance claim filed. We're not talking about the real issue here. And Antonio's right. All the candidates who are fighting for single payer don't know how to pay for it, and they're not being honest about it.
Boom,
The
right there.
reality is our healthcare system is broken. 30% of the cost in California is an administrative cost. We can use technology to bring down those costs.
This guy wants to put nanoprobes in your butthole.
We are not incentivizing health.
The fucking tech
we reward
oligarchs.
fee for service, more procedures,
Thank you,
more
sir.
prescription drugs. We should reward doctors and health systems for making people healthier.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Steyer,
A
this next
Democrat
question is for
telling
you.
you they don't know how to pay for universal health
It's on
care.
the same topic, so you can use some of your time for that. In last year's budget, Governor Gavin Newsom cut healthcare funding for undocumented immigrants to address a budget gap. As governor, would you restore that funding?
Yep.
I believe everybody in California has a right to health care.
But can you
But the
pay
truth
for
of the
it?
matter is, it is eating up our budget. And it's more than that, Alex. It is eating up every single family. You talked about how many people are giving up healthcare so they can make healthcare, so they can make rent.
So why are they
You're talking about
arguing over
businesses
who's
that
going
can't
to
compete
support
because healthcare is
universal
so
health care?
expensive? And it is eating up the budget of the state of California. When people sit here and say, let's do the same thing, we can't afford to do this.
Bro, why are the Democrats wasting the whole debate arguing over whether or not you support universal health care when they know they can't afford it? So all that first 30 minutes they wasted arguing over it. Now the truth is coming out. We can't afford it. This is what they want to do. They want to lie to you and make you think they're going to provide it when they know they're not going to. So if you're voting based on getting universal health care, just know, voting Democrat, you ain't getting it.
The same thing. It is eating up our budget. Look at the numbers. That's why I changed my mind, Katie, because I looked at the facts. Single payer healthcare systems cost half as much as the system in total that we have now. And yes, it's going to be a big, job to get us to single payer. But the truth is, we don't have a choice because right now people are suffering. They're giving up healthcare. Every medical crisis turns into a financial disaster. The truth is, we don't have a choice but to go to single payer, and you need somebody who's going to fight for it.
We spend $12 billion a year in California providing health care to illegal immigrants and their children. If they leave, we get a $12 billion bump in our budget. That's the answer. Get rid of illegals, stop the global welfare system, and we'll be fine. But everyone deserves it. He's going to keep saying that, but he's not going to tell you how he's going to deliver it. This guy's a snake oil salesman.
The person's going to fight.
Why do they cost less, though?
To clarify, Mr. Steyer, on the question of health care for the undocumented,
I said
Becerra is a
everybody in
Newsom?
California
You would
has a right to health care.
Come on.
And let's answer this
California
out.
should
Did
fund
you
it.
The truth
die?
of the matter is, immigrants built this state. Immigrants make this state run.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, we had a broken immigration system, and now you want to victimize the people who are working here and making the state run.
Thank you,
As
sir.
Antonio said, try and get rid of them. You can't do it.
Man, listen, there's plenty of legal Hispanics. Burrito stands are not making California run. Kyler, thank you. Republicans and conservatives here to defend the same broke ass for profit system. Yes, buddy, it's for profit. That's why it's the best system on earth. The Democrats are telling you that they can't pay for it. So you're either dense or retarded or both. They can't pay for it. If you can't pay for it, they can't give you free stuff if they can't buy the stuff, right? I can't give you a free car if I can't purchase the car to give it to you. You're a grown man, bro. Get out of your mom's basement, stop playing freaking World of Warcraft, and go get a damn job.
Let's go to Sheriff Bianco. Your thoughts on this idea of undocumented healthcare funding?
It's ridiculous. When are we going to draw the line at any other crime? It's illegal. They entered the country illegally. We're not going to incentivize them to come here to take more of the resources that regular Californians aren't getting. The ones that are struggling here, that are here legally, they're not getting that. They're not getting free education. They're not getting free medical. They're not getting free food. They're not getting all of those things that the illegal ones are getting. And we're somehow celebrating that when the legal immigrants here don't get that. It makes absolutely no sense. And healthcare, no one's talking about, how about we try and make people healthy?
So, Congresswoman Porter, your thoughts on the idea of funding?
Wait 1 second. Look, the Mexicans and the illegals, they're making it, the illegal Hispanics, because that's what's mostly here in California. I'm in California right now. They're making this state run. Well, if they're making the state run, why do they need so much free stuff? See, they can't answer that question. They're making the state run. California's legal residents ain't shit, but somehow we got to keep paying for them. If you making it run, why do I got to pay for you? That's like my kid telling me, Dad, I'm the one making this house run. I'm the one making this house, keeping this family afloat. Well, why do I have to pay for you? Why do I have to buy your clothes, your tampons, your whatever you do, your shoes, your socks? This is bullshit. You're trying to convince me that they are the engine of this state while we're paying for them. How am I'm the engine? I'm paying for them. The Democrats make no sense.
With what? Fucking raccoon penises and whale cadavers?
Yes, and
that's, by the way, what I think Californians deserve as answers to these questions, Alex.
And for critics who say that you can't afford it, what do you say to that?
We can't afford to have people who are sick, who are making the rest of us sick. When
She's got a point.
Have care.
Send them back to Mexico and South America. It's one simple solution, but they refuse to discuss it because they need those illegal votes. They know they're letting illegals vote in elections, and they know if they don't tell them what they want to hear, they will just not participate and they will lose. They know what they're doing. Why is this even a conversation in a California gubernatorial race? Why are we spending even 2 minutes talking about illegal immigrants?
When anyone doesn't have care, the rest of us are at risk. When people don't get vaccinations, when they don't go to the doctor, they
universal health care for all Americans.
They cause longer lines for the rest of us. They make our healthcare system, they push it to the brink. And that was exactly where we were when we expanded healthcare and health coverage to make sure that everyone can be healthy. The direction that got us into this mess is Democrats catering to big pharmaceutical companies and big insurance companies, which Mr. Becerra has taken $2 million from in his career.
Oh, damn.
And still won't give us a yes or no answer on where he stands. Every other candidate on the stage gave an answer on single payer, and it was clear. He's the only one who won't. And to me, with healthcare on the line, that's disqualifying.
Thank you.
Secretary Becerra, do you want to respond to that?
Yeah, first, immigrants, whether documented or not, work hard. They
so
pay
why
taxes,
we got to pay for them?
And sometimes they get injured on the job or their children get sick. It would be foolish to tell a family that they don't have access to the pediatrician or the family doc, or not be able to use the community health center where it wouldn't cost us so much to give them access to good health care. Instead, what will happen is that child will get so ill that they will have to take that child to the hospital. And what door do they enter? The most expensive door in the healthcare system, the emergency room door. Why do that and spend so much money when you can do it up front? And so, yes, let us provide the care to all the people who work hard and make California
Secretary Becerra, thank you for that. I have a question for you on another issue that has come up repeatedly during this campaign. You're actually part of a lawsuit against Sheriff Bianco here over his seizure of more than 500,000 ballots that was brought up earlier in Riverside County from last year's election. He says he's investigating allegations of election fraud. Election officials
Courts
say
ordered
that those
him to
claims
stop.
aren't valid. Do you believe that the sheriff here committed a crime?
The sheriff is supposed to enforce the law. In this case, Sheriff Bianco violated the law. There are ways that you...
No, a law enforcement official has to investigate allegations of crime. Someone could say, hey, I think this guy murdered somebody. They have to do an investigation to make sure you didn't murder that person. So if people are saying, hey, they cheated, they did this with the ballots, and they're submitting things that look like they could point towards that, it's his job to investigate it. So how are you suing a law enforcement officer who's doing their job? If you did nothing wrong, why do you need a lawsuit? Just, hey, go waste your time while I run for governor and you go investigate those election fraud, because it never happened. These guys are guilty of sin. And if you vote for them, you deserve what you get.
Treat ballots. You have to maintain the integrity of every ballot. So I know, we all know that no one will tamper with your ballot. There is a chain of custody requirement that the law says you have to follow in order to let that ballot move anywhere. Sheriff Bianco,
I believe he broke the law.
Sheriff Bianco didn't follow that process. He violated the law as the sheriff. So absolutely, that's why we are suing him to get back the ballots. He cannot claim under cover of an investigation that he has the right to take these ballots and break that chain of custody. That's against the law. That's why we're suing, and that's why he's going to lose in the Supreme Court.
He has the right.
Sheriff Bianco?
It's not true. None of that is true. This is all political, so he could get his name in the papers that he's suing for all.
It is true.
Garbage.
Sheriff Bianco,
you don't know anything about it.
Yes, I do. It is true.
Can I answer?
You broke the law.
Can I answer? I am tasked, elected and tasked with enforcing the law in Riverside County. And part of that is fraud. Election fraud is against the law. There is absolutely nothing we did that was illegal. And the real issue here is the Attorney General just doesn't want them counted. So the issue at stake in the Supreme Court is whether he has the authority to order me to not do an investigation. That's all this is. Don't lie. You two have no idea what was going on in that investigation.
Secretary Becerra,
you're making it political.
Yeah,
Yes.
He's being sued by the Attorney General, but he's also being sued by those of us who want to protect the ballot. And what we're saying, Sheriff, is if you're going to try to get a ballot, follow the law.
Isn't him investigating the integrity of the election protecting the ballot? See, this is the same thing Iran does. Well, we want to follow international law while we claim to want to follow international law while we break international law. They claim to want to follow election law and protect the sanctity of election law while they break election law. These guys are just snake oil salesmen. And if the Supreme Court rules against Bianco, he will not go to jail. He will not be indicted. It's just whether the AG has the power to tell him to stop investigating election fraud, which the AG does not. He's elected to do that.
The law is pretty clear. All you had to do was read the law. You cannot take ballots, confiscate them, and count them yourself. You have to have people who are trained and
the judge
authorized to do that.
We can,
You
and the
cannot
judge
do that.
agreed.
That's why the Supreme Court has stopped you from being able to count
What's your view of
That's a
The mere fact that the situation has reached the Supreme Court is showing you that the Democrats have lost in it doesn't just go to the Supreme Court. It goes through lower courts, and the lower courts have determined that Bianco has the right to do that as an elected law enforcement agent in Riverside County, right? So guess what? Now they're trying to take it all the way to the highest court in the land, basically, to try to get another ruling. They've already lost this case. If the Supreme Court's going to uphold whatever the lower court said, Bianco's not taking him to the Supreme Court. They're taking him to the Supreme Court because they're not getting their desired results in the lower courts.
a lie.
My view is that it's a bit rich for Javier to talk about following the law when
Javier?
he is mired personally in a corruption scandal where his former
My
chief
God,
of
here we
staff,
go.
Sean McCluskey, when Javier was appointed by Joe Biden to be health secretary, he wanted his chief of staff to go with him. The salary wasn't enough. So what did they do? They took money from Javier's campaign account to top up his salary by funneling it to Dana Williamson, Gavin Newsom's former chief of staff, so that it was paid to this guy's wife. All of that is illegal. It is against state law. It's against federal law. My running mate for Attorney General, Michael Gates, has this evening written to Javier Becerra to make it clear that when he is Attorney General, Javier will be investigated
Thank you.
and, if
Mr.
necessary,
Hilton,
prosecuted for these crimes.
Mr. Hilton, just to clarify on the question about the seizure of the ballots in Riverside County, do you believe that Sheriff Bianco took the right step there?
I'm not going to weigh in on something that I don't have the knowledge of the facts on. I trust that Chad is interested in what we should all be interested in, which is ensuring the integrity of our elections and restoring faith in our elections in California. That's why I support voter ID in California. Let's see what these Democrats think of voter ID.
Secretary Becerra, your response to Mr. Hilton.
Yeah, first, Steve, read the law. In order to remove ballots, you have to follow a process. Sheriff Bianco didn't follow it. If you're not going to enforce the law as governor, then why would you want to sit in the office? But to
if you're going to break
probably the same fraud you investigated while you were Attorney General.
This issue, Steve, again, read the indictment. I was not involved in the actions that
it was your chief of staff.
He was cleared of any wrongdoing.
So why haven't the lower courts determined that? So why did this even reach the Supreme Court? They're trying to play a game on everyone. If it reached the Supreme Court, they took it to the Supreme Court. That means the lower courts were ruling in favor of Bianco. So they know what they're doing, but this is all for publicity.
Actually, Javier, let me, if I
the
could just
campaign.
finish
I know where all my
money
goes.
Finish the
Secretary
response.
Becerra, go ahead.
Yeah, Steve, if you knew the law, you have to have basis to sue to go after someone criminally. I am not involved in that action. Now,
it was your chief of staff, and it was your decision.
And the people who
because
your money, people who
you were the one hired to go to Washington as health secretary, and you wanted him. You wanted this guy by your side. And the reason that the money was transferred is because the salary wasn't high enough. And that's why you engaged in this scheme, which is illegal under state law and federal law.
Continue responding.
So you notice that nowhere in the indictment is anything that Steve said included there. If you violate the law, you will be prosecuted. No one is above the law. You will be held accountable. If I had been involved, the U.S. attorney would have had me in that indictment. I was not involved. But here's what I will say. Steve, I hope you speak as ferociously about Donald Trump's violation of the law every time you're sitting in the governor's office trying to protect the people of California, because the last thing we need is to have an executive who continues to violate the rights of Californians and have a governor who just sits back and agrees with that executive named Donald Trump.
If this guy is so thorough and all about the law and he's so good at what he does, why doesn't he know where all the money that Gavin Newsom supposedly spent on homelessness went? Notice that they claim to uphold the law and they want to do lawsuits and everything. Why didn't he immediately sue the state of California when Gavin Newsom said, we spent $34 billion on homelessness, but we don't know where it went? These guys are, you can see straight through them. They don't care about the law. They weaponize the legal system to prevent people from exposing them. And they hope to drain your pockets. See, they're suing. California is suing the Riverside County, right? Think about that. California is suing Riverside County for actions taken by their sheriff. Riverside County has a level of sovereignty, so they want that to happen. That's why they allowed it to happen. So California is now suing them. They got money for everything, but seem to say we can't afford universal health care and nothing else. But y'all sure can afford to sue everybody.
All right, let's talk about housing. Skyrocketing costs, severe shortages have made
Becerra said it was a gut punch to his campaign.
Overall home ownership rates are at their lowest since the 1940s. Mr. Hilton, you say that California needs to, quote, end the war on single-family homes. Your housing plan focuses on the building of single-family homes over high-density multifamily developments. Why do you think that's the best approach?
And just today, I launched a new plan for starter homes in California. One of the most heartbreaking things I see is young people, they come to our events, and I ask them, do you ever see yourself owning a home in California, starting a family here? And they say no, and we're going to have to leave. And that's why we've got to enact a very straightforward plan. Number one, we have to get rid of the regulations that make it 2 or 3 times as expensive to build the exact same home in California as in neighboring states. We have to stop the lawsuits filed by the unions who support these Democrats that get in the way of building housing. And to your point, we have to stop trying to force housing into suburban neighborhoods where people don't want it. Instead, we have to build single-family homes in the places in our state that do want to expand. That's the plan, to make sure that we can restore that California dream of home ownership. It is the heart of opportunity for our young people, and it's being taken away by these Democrats and their policies.
Mayor Mahan, your response.
Yeah, look, again, these guys can talk, but I've actually delivered as mayor of the 3rd largest city in the state. I removed barriers to building thousands of homes that are currently under construction. We added thousands of interim housing placements and brought homeless neighbors indoors, reducing our unsheltered homeless population by 1/3. We've led the state in building ADUs and making it easy for people to put backyard cottages in for a child returning home from college or a grandparent. I'm the only candidate on the stage who has actually taken on the bureaucracy, the red tape, reduced fees and permitting times, and delivered housing for working people.
Mayor Villaraigosa.
But actually, I built more market rate, affordable, workforce, and homeless
shouldn't even be up
housing
here. He's
in
at 1%.
in the middle of a recession than they did in the 12 years before me. So you're not the.
I 100% agree with this libtard on this thing. This guy's polling under 1%, and he's only up there to be a disruptor to the conservatives. At this point, I don't even want to hear what he has to say because he made LA a shithole, and then he's going to try to make the state a shit, and no one supports him. Why are people polling at less than 1% on stage? That's my only question. It doesn't make any sense. Why is he getting this much time to talk when that time could be going to people who actually have a chance? And this guy Becerra next to Villaraigosa, he was polling at 2% before Eric Swalwell dropped out of the race. So he represents exactly what Eric Swalwell was representing.
Violates the law, should be held accountable. If people want to judge me, judge me on what I've done. I expanded healthcare to more Americans than anyone in the history of the country serving as secretary.
And that's
I was
problem.
able to negotiate for the first time ever lower drug prices as Secretary of Health and Human Services. I took on Donald Trump when he tried to attack the state of California over and over again. If you want to judge me on the things that I've done, not on spurious claims made by people who are trying to become governor of the state of California.
Let's talk about homelessness. Mayor Mahan, this question.
Yeah, Antonio has been
California
bought.
has among
He's
the
got to be a
highest
plant.
homeless
He shouldn't
rates
be
in
up
the
there.
country.
He's a plant.
Sheriff Bianco takes issue with the term homeless itself. He says, quote, we will quit calling it homeless. This is not about homes. They don't even want homes. They're perfectly happy where they are.
Facts.
Do you agree that Californians sleeping on the streets don't want homes?
Facts.
Well, look, first of all, I just have to set the record straight on Javier's touting his experience. The Biden administration, President Biden, openly talked about firing him, had to sideline him during COVID because he wasn't delivering results. And I am still in shock in this debate that despite being given the opportunity 3 times in a row by Katie, he was unable to clearly answer the most important question on healthcare as our former Secretary of Health and Human Services. On homelessness, though, I can't let that slide. I'm sorry.
Sure.
The facts matter. On homelessness,
I did answer the question.
I have led the state in reducing unsheltered homelessness by finding a balanced approach that is compassionate but also accountable.
It's not.
I stood up to the system that was building $1 million
sold out to the
solutions
tech
taking
oligarchs.
years on end and said
Now
this
San
is
Jose is
never
the
going
most
to scale.
expensive
We're building basic,
city in the
dignified
nation.
shelter. We're working with our county
That's
to
why it's the
expand
safest. They
inpatient
chased
treatment.
everybody else out.
And when those beds are available, we're
One of the
requiring
safest.
that people come indoors. That's a pragmatic approach. It's leading the state. It's what we need to do in every city and county in California.
Sheriff
Alex,
Bianco,
can I just say-
the issue of homelessness, then we'll bring you in, Mr. Steyer. Sheriff Bianco.
Yeah, so this has nothing to do with homes, and it's unfortunate for the people there that they were just relocated to a hard roof instead of a tent so he could run for governor, because he had 4 years to do that and chose not to, but right before he runs for governor, he has to relocate all of them. The bottom line is this: that's not compassionate, because they're still under the influence of drugs. They're still experiencing mental health issues. They're still experiencing the combination of both, and we are not giving them the treatment that they need. This is not about homes. This is about mental health treatment, drug and alcohol treatment, most importantly, the combination of both. And it is not compassion if we are not going to give them.
We're going to give the mayor a
Chad
chance to
should
respond,
just-
and then we'll bring Steyer into the
Yeah, I mean, it's
conversation.
interesting. In fact, first of all, more than half of the candidates on the stage have visited San Jose to see our success in interim housing. We've added thousands of units, moved thousands of people indoors. And just in the 3 years that I have been mayor, we have graduated about 30% of those people to permanent housing.
Literally, I have to click away for a second. Listen, is San Jose giving needles to drug addicts? That's where he's the mayor. Yes, San Jose, through the County of Santa Clara Public Health Department, operates a harm reduction program that provides clean needles and other supplies to those who use drugs. They also give them money, which they use to then go buy drugs. So more of the same, more Gavin Newsom style policies. Chad Bianco is 100% right about this dude. He is a liar and a snake oil salesman. He hasn't done crap. Temporarily house people so he could say, I reduce homelessness 10%, just so he could get the talking point.
Fewer tent encampments. In fact, right now we're in the midst of resolving the last large tent encampment in the city of San Jose. Those are the kinds of results we need to see statewide.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Steyer, the issue of homelessness.
I'm going to jump in.
Homelessness is very important. But the number one problem in California is Californians can't afford to live here. And the number one issue on affordability is housing. And we skipped over it. We didn't really talk about how we're going to build houses in this state. And the truth is, people can talk about permitting. And it's true. I work for reform of CEQA. They can talk about zoning. We need to build densely around public transportation. And they can talk about constructing offsite. They'll drop costs by at least a third. But what they don't talk about is the cities and counties of this state do not want new housing, because new housing brings in people and they can't afford to pay the health and education costs. That's why the fact that I'm willing to close a corporate loophole and bring in 22. No, but let me say that.
These people cities should not have to pay for the health of the people that live in them. Why do we have this mindset? Like, if someone moves to Long Beach needs to pay for their health care. That's stupid. This guy, Tom Steyer, is a pure communist. He's a communist. And the reason he's a communist, because in communism, in fascism, the owners of the means of production, which he is in collusion with the government. So he's not even a communist, he's a fascist. But fascism comes from communism. He's a fascist 100%. And he's selling this bullcrap. Oh, the city should pay for your health care. But he knows that that's never going to happen. These cities don't even have the budget to pay for the health care of all these people. We are putting dope fiends in homes where families could be living, and the dope fiends get the keys and still go sleep outside. I will come to California. I'll take you on a damn field trip where you could go, where I could show you a bunch of dope fiends sleeping outside. And if you ask them, do you have a place to stay? They will show you the keys and tell you their address, but they're never there because they want to be outside close to where the dope man is at. It's ridiculous.
This is the key. They will welcome housing if they can afford to take care of the people. And I talked to a mayor on Saturday who said, if you'll do it, I'll support you. And I love it.
I want to respond to
he's talking about raising taxes on small business.
Exactly.
When Tom says we're closing a corporate loophole, what he's not telling you is he's raising taxes on commercial property across the board. That means all of your office uses, all your small businesses. That's just going to get passed on to consumers and make the cost of living in California even higher. And it's not going to fund single payer because that's 10 times more expensive than the revenue he's going to collect. Raising taxes isn't always the answer, Tom.
How is it possible that he could possibly know what this bill says since it hasn't been written? The truth is we're going to give an exception for small businesses. The idea of this is corporations are getting taxed for real estate on their basis in the 1970s. Disney, 10 billion.
Sorry, it's about homelessness.
Caitlin,
this is about
paying real estate taxes
to
Disneyland based on the 1970s.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to turn to issues of leadership, which is something that obviously all of you would be in the position to deal with if you are elected governor. And Mayor Villaraigosa, you actually put out an ad of your own recently that highlighted your opponent here, Congresswoman Katie Porter, threatening to cut off an interview with a reporter. That came after a video surfaced of her berating a member of her staff. If a senior official in your government acted as she did in those videos, would you fire them?
Yes. But let's be clear. That's irrelevant. Because
you're irrelevant, motherfucker. You got 1%. Go away.
Governor. But let me just say something about what
I swear I'm with this fat guy. This guy is pointless because he's not ever going to get elected. But guys, the Democrats are telling you how bad their policies are. Mahan, he's screaming. Oh, he's kind of trying to sound like the reasonable guy. But guys, he literally just did some quick work in his city to get the talking point of I reduce homelessness by 13% and all this stuff. Guys, they have no answers. They have no solutions. If they had the solutions, why didn't they suggest these things to Gavin Newsom when they were sitting right in the state legislature every damn day of the year? They don't have solutions. If you're thinking about voting for these Democrats, just please don't, because you got to show them that you're willing to vote against them so they'll do the right thing.
Of your own, now making light of that interaction that you had with your
That's not
staffer,
correct, Caitlin.
which you said you apologized for.
That is not correct. The ad is about showing Californians what they've had a chance to see on this stage tonight and in every other debate stage that we've had, which is that I'm able to take responsibility. I'm able to follow the rules. I'm able to say I'm sorry, and I'm able to do better. Everybody in California had a chance to see me on stage with that reporter in the last debate
Losing
and
your
see
shit.
exactly how I conducted myself. Californians can decide for themselves about my temperament based on what they've seen here tonight.
Or lack
And
thereof.
if these boys bullying and bickering hasn't been enough to raise questions about their temperament, I would really challenge that. I have taken responsibility at this point hundreds of times, and that's appropriate because I made a bad decision and I treated someone badly. I apologized 5 years ago for it, and we worked together for 4 more years. What I haven't heard is the people on this stage who have made other bad decisions and other mistakes and other failures of leadership. Not one of them, not one of these men have said in this entire campaign, I've made a mistake.
Men are bad. Listen, guys, she's polling at 9%. Why do they keep attacking someone? Why is the guy polling at 1% attacking the lady polling at 9%? Because their job is to waste time, so you don't you don't see that these guys who are in the front don't have any ideas. They're there to filibuster for Tom Steyer and Javier Becerra. That's the only reason.
And I have the fitness, the temperament, and the best ideas to be governor, and everybody's had a chance to see now in 3 debates how.
Thank you, Congresswoman Porter. And on this issue of leadership, Sheriff Bianco, you've had harsh criticism.
I have to interject. My name has been used several times, and I've patiently
and Secretary
waited.
Becerra, I'll come to you
Caitlin, you said that
I'll come to you on what the Congresswoman said. I promise. Don't worry.
Thank you.
But Sheriff Bianco, on this issue of leadership, I saw the two of you chatting earlier, you and Mr. Hilton. You've actually had some harsh words for your fellow Republican on the stage tonight. You've called him, quote, unethical and dishonest, and said that he is trying to, quote, manipulate Californians and, quote, swindled his way into the Republican side. Are you saying that you don't think Republican voters can trust Mr. Hilton?
I will tell you, I don't know where that came from. I wouldn't tell you in my entire life. I don't think I've used the word swindle. So I don't know if you were quoting something or if you were saying that,
It's a quote from you to The Atlantic.
No, I've never used the word swindle. Have Steve and
January
I disagreed?
6th.
Absolutely we have. We had our quite big disagreements and battles in this election because he's running his campaign. I'm running mine.
They're going to fucking goon later.
But you're denying that you said these quotes.
No, I'm saying that I don't know where that came from. I would never use the word swindled, but the context.
Hilton looks like he wants to just.
It's unethical that I'm the only person up here that their entire existence in their job revolves around honesty, integrity, and leadership. I'm the only one right now. Lying can get me removed from my job.
Can I just clarify?
Unlike what they're saying.
With you, because this says it's from an interview with KBAK that happened in April of this year, where you said he's trying to figure out how he can manipulate Californians to put him in this position in a time when we know that California Democrats have failed and we are going to vote for a Republican governor, and he has swindled his way into the Republican side, even though he's not.
I probably did say that. I didn't use the word swindled, whatever it was, but that context, I will agree with that 100%. So I do believe that.
Okay, so you did say the quote.
Sure.
Okay. Mr. Hilton?
Look, this is a very serious moment for California. The ballots are out. They're in your hands. And we have a really big choice to make, which is, do we go for another 4 years of one-party rule that's given us the highest taxes for the worst results, the highest poverty rate, highest unemployment rate, highest cost of living, serious policy questions, homelessness. We need to stop homelessness and end it. We need to stop funding fiascos like high-speed rail.
Thank you, Mr.
We need to lift burdens on our business.
Caitlin.
That's what this debate needs to be about. And the only way to get the change we need is to not vote the same way and think you're going to get a different result.
I do have to go back to Secretary Becerra, since I did promise you that I would let you respond to that, since Congresswoman Porter invoked your name a few moments ago. She was talking about your leadership. Would you like to respond to her?
Yeah, I think everyone's invoking my name. It's nice to hear my name quite a bit, and they're at least pronouncing it.
It shouldn't be.
I will tell you this. Distorting the facts in your quest to be governor is never good. But using Trump lies to try to damage your opponents is worse. And that's what we see happening. Everyone knows that Trump campaigned in 2024 talking about lost kids when there were no such thing as lost kids. To hear these candidates now talk about that, if they're so concerned, why haven't they taken any action to find these lost kids? I think it's shameful for people to use Trump lies to try to gain favor with voters when you know it's not true. Use the facts. We should have a governor who relies on the facts. I will speak the facts when I'm governor because that's what the California voters deserve.
I feel compelled to fact check it. Staying on the topic.
It was a New York Times Pulitzer Prize-winning investigation.
And read the article.
It's not Donald Trump.
Read the article.
26 Democrats.
All right, Mr. Villaraigosa. We're gonna move on. We're gonna move on now, sir.
Be accountable.
All right, we're gonna move on. On the topic of leadership, I want to talk about California Governor Gavin Newsom, who's
real quick. There were no lost kids. What is this? 37 missing children rescued in Chad Bianco's county. If you're asking about lost or missing children, the California Department of Justice reported 66,705 children went missing in 2023. Javier Becerra is a liar. If you support him, you support trafficking. You support trafficking. It's government-sponsored and covered-up trafficking, which is what he just tried to do right now.
Who's about to leave office after
here we go.
consequential and at times
ready,
controversial years. To all of you, what is one word you would use to describe Governor Newsom's performance as governor? We will go down the line, starting with you, Mayor Villaraigosa. One word to describe Governor Newsom's performance as governor.
Performative.
Progressive.
Wow.
Failed.
Steve. Failure. You can't take my word.
Oh, yeah, see? They want to hold hands.
That's
you see
okay.
that? It's coming.
That.
Incomplete.
Governor and
We'll be right
Lieutenant
back
Governor.
with more of the California governor primary debate right here
my God.
on CNN.
Guys, that's your governor and that's your lieutenant governor right there. That's your, bro, 66,000 children. And this guy, Javier, sits there and says, no. Guys, the California DOJ reported 66,000 missing children. And in 2023, that's under Gavin Newsom. And this guy sat there with a straight face and said, there were no missing kids. That's who you want running the state? 66,000. Go look it up. Go look it up. Go look it up. California DOJ, 66,000 missing children. There were no missing kids. This guy will say anything to make it look like the Democrats are doing a good job. Guys, it's commercials. So if you guys wonder why I clicked off, it's commercials. But just any Democrat, just explain that to me. 66,000 missing children. And yet these people are saying that there is no missing kids. Absolutely. Every Democrat just clicked off right now. Every Democrat just clicked off right now. They don't want to hear the truth. They say we want to see the Epstein files. But what about the files that's right in your own state? They don't want to see those files. They don't care about the trafficking that's going on right in their own state. They don't care about Scott Wiener and all these dudes doing all this stuff. They only care about it if they think Trump did it. And that's not the way to run anything. That's not the mindset to have as a voter. If you're against it, you're against it no matter who's doing it. I'm a Trump supporter, but if Trump molested kids, he needs to go to jail. He needs to go to jail immediately. I'll be the first person to call for the guy to get arrested. But this guy, Becerra, who you want to put in charge of a state where your kids live, is saying, hey, no kids got lost. Oh, here we go. We're back.
20% in
Even be there. He's out of the question. He's out of it. There's a 501.
immense potential with the possibility of massive job loss in our state. Mayor Mahan, Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei says AI could wipe out half of all entry-level white-collar jobs and spike unemployment to 10 to 20% in the next 5 years. As governor of California, would you require AI companies to compensate people displaced by their own technology? And how so?
Well, Alex, as the mayor of the largest city in Silicon Valley, I've seen these tools up close, and they can be used to make life better, but they also come with great risks, and people are right to be worried. I've regulated big tech. We started something called the GovAI Coalition to create frameworks for how cities, counties, and others should use these tools responsibly. I created the first and largest AI upskilling curriculum for city workers. This year, 1,000 city workers in San Jose will go through our upskilling curriculum. The answer is to tax these companies and fund workforce development, upskilling courses, and create the shared prosperity that we need, the pathways to the jobs of the future, but not to regulate them to the point that they simply go to other places and then this change happens to us.
Mr. Starr, your thoughts on AI?
Well, what we can't have in AI is for it to succeed, and we create 12 trillionaires and millions of people who lose their jobs. The number one thing we have to do is make sure that AI is a tool for workers and not a replacement of workers. And we absolutely need to own part of it. The people of California need to have a tax or a fee on every calculation. And we'll use that to protect workers. We'll use that to retrain workers. And if there's money left over, we'll use it for a sovereign wealth fund. This is a California innovation in technology. We own the beach. We should own part of AI.
Mr. Hilton, the original question, would you require AI companies to compensate people displaced by their technologies, and how so?
It's classic Democrats, isn't it, what you're hearing? If it moves, tax it. If it still moves, regulate it. And if it stops moving, I guess they want to subsidize it.
Oh my
Look,
God, here's
the truth is on
clever
this,
little fucking
we have to have a
one-liner.
bit of humility. This is a very fast-moving technology, and actually even the people involved in it disagree about its exact consequences. Here are two practical things we could and should be doing better today. First of all, the real blue-collar jobs that are coming from the AI revolution, they're not happening in California. They're going to Texas and Arizona, semiconductor manufacturing. We could get that back by removing regulations. And secondly, our school system is not educating our kids to be able to thrive in this world of AI. We need to do better.
AI is a policy choice. We get to decide as Californians whether we want these technologies to work for us and to help us, or whether we want to stand by and let them gut our economy. I've talked about how AI could be delivering a 4-day work week for every single Californian, something that OpenAI came out this week talking about. I'm seeing AI already in my classrooms, having to write an AI policy with my kids' homework. We have to decide, do we want AI to work for all of us? And I think when AI uses what people have done, what workers have done, workers should be compensated for those inputs.
Thank you, Congresswoman.
Obviously, AI is a huge issue that, as governor, any of you would have to deal with. Also, one that is underway right now in California, a changing climate that has been exacerbating water shortages, poor air quality, and of course, disasters like wildfires that people in this state are unfortunately all too familiar with. According to analysis from our partner, USA Facts, California has actually declared nearly 50 disasters in just the last 5 years. Mr. Steyer, your opponent here, Mr. Hilton, says that there is no evidence of California's regulations actually helping the climate. What's your response to him?
Well, I think that Mr. Hilton is ridiculous. Mr. Hilton is an apologist. He is an apologist for fossil fuels. He is an apologist for this war to control fossil fuels. The truth of the matter is, clean energy is now much cheaper than fossil fuel energy. We're an electric revolution the world over. That's why I'm insisting that the electric monopolies have local competition to drive down costs for Californians. That's why I'm saying we should triple the tax credit for people to buy EVs, because EVs are the absolute future. The truth of the matter is, it's very simple in terms of what we have to do in terms of energy. We need to make the polluters pay. We have to take environmental justice at the beginning of every conversation, and we need to deploy the clean energy technology that is here, that is invented by Californians, that will allow us to build huge companies all over the world. Right now, Donald Trump is fighting for the buggy whip. He is fighting for the black and white TV. He is fighting for the best. The truth is, this world is moving to electricity at warp speed on every continent. And the United States is still hanging on to the past.
I believe he called you ridiculous. Was that your word, Mr. Steyer?
I think that was my word.
Would you like to respond, Mr. Hilton?
He's a Chinese plant.
I don't want to respond to silly insults, but I'll take the substantive point.
They like each other,
First of all, when
dude,
Tom
I'm telling
talks
you.
about
Steyer,
tripling
Hilton,
subsidies
Yonko.
for electric vehicles, let's be clear what that is. That is higher taxes on hardworking Californians driving their gas cars and trucks every day so that Tom's rich friends can feel virtuous about saving the climate. The truth is we need common sense on climate change. It doesn't make sense to import oil from halfway around the world, increasing carbon emissions in the name of climate. It doesn't make sense to allow mega wildfires in our forests that actually release more carbon dioxide than what is saved by all these years of climate policy.
Mr. Steyer?
Look, I think that description of how we should handle the gasoline crisis is not real world. The truth of the matter is, we're paying gasoline prices based on world prices. We're not paying gasoline prices based on what it costs to get oil in California. We're paying world prices.
So
That's
why
why
are they $2 higher here than everywhere else?
That is why they've gone up $1.50, Steve, because of the war in Iran.
But it's
that is
up
not
because of
all
your
of a sudden
policies.
the costs in California went by $1.50. Drilling more in California is not going to change the price we pay at the pump. The price we pay at the pump is what the oil companies gouge us for because they're charging us what everyone else in the world pays.
Mayor.
He said that the war in Iran is making the prices go up. Then he said the oil companies are gouging us. What about the $2 of taxes that California adds to every gallon of gas?
Villaraigosa, can you respond to this in terms of, as someone who was the mayor of Los Angeles, Mr. Hilton is saying the climate regulations don't work, don't actually help the climate. Mr. Steyer is saying they do.
We import
Mr.
oil
Hilton's
from Iraq.
wrong.
Not Iran.
But let me be clear.
Iraq.
I had a 100% record on the environment. In the 6 years I was in the legislature, I passed the Carl Moyer Act, which was the biggest effort to clean up the air since the Clean Air Act. When I was mayor of Los Angeles, the largest city in this state, I reduced greenhouse gases by 28% below Kyoto levels, #1 American city, #5 in the world. But we can't keep on putting these policies on the backs of working people.
Exactly.
We've had this conversation, Alex, many times. We have the highest gas prices because we overregulate gas in this state. And yes, it's true.
Now, somebody just in the comments told me, look, you actually have no fucking clue what you're talking about. Ain't that what I just said? Now he's saying it. Now they'll agree with it because the Democrats said it.
The Iranian war has
the
picked them up
Democrats
even
are
further.
telling on each other.
We need to
And if
have
you
a
the hell's
vote
the
them,
uranium?
all of the above solution like Norway. Norway is one of the greenest countries in the world, and they produce their own oil and gas. That's how they green Norway.
Congressman Porter, I want to ask you about
he has the
something
largest
that is a huge
population of
conversation
Iranians in Los
Washington. You
Angeles, and
mentioned
he
your-
can't even
your
pronounce
whiteboard
it right.
use, that you were famous for when you served in Congress. A recent poll found that 56% of likely California primary voters think the next governor should make investigating fraud in government programs a high priority. The president has named Vice President J.D. Vance as the nation's fraud czar. As you know, he brings up California a lot and has made clear that he has set his sights on California. Do you believe that's a good thing?
So we should all care where our tax dollars go, whether we're paying, a low rate like Tom compared to the rest of us or a rate that's higher. We all should want our tax dollars to go to work. I think Tom wants even his 13% compared to our 20% to go to work. So fraud is real. It happens. Government waste, mismanagement, failure to have audits, failure to implement government recommendations. That's why I chose to serve on the Oversight Committee and hold Democratic leadership and Republican leadership, Trump and Biden, to account for those programs. But there's nothing special about Californians. That is political theater coming from J.D. Vance. Fraud occurs because government leaders don't think hard and design programs clearly to guard against fraud. It happens on both sides of the aisle.
So would you support
the
stop,
who
make
has
sure
a
we
track
act?
record of
That's what they should
protecting
ask her.
consumers and doing government oversight in order to change that?
Thank you, Congresswoman. Sheriff Bianco, on the program itself and investigating fraud, and she's saying that it's political theater that is coming from the federal government.
It's only political theater if the fraud is happening and it happened on our watch. And so the Democrats in California don't want anybody to believe that there's fraud in California. But yet our own state government has said that we are one of the most wasteful state governments in the entire country. The waste, fraud, and the abuse in California government is the worst in the entire country. That comes from our own state government. If we are not going to root out the waste, fraud, and abuse, all of their pie in the sky policies, they certainly are not going to pay for them unless they tax you more, that's all we're hearing from them is what you started in the very beginning about how bad California is. And we aren't talking about the policies that are going to fix it because it's their policies that broke it. We've talked about them arguing about Mr. Becerra and about Trump ruining everything.
Let's hear your policy,
the reality
Mr. Bianco.
It is Democrat policies in California that have failed us in every question you've asked that
Sheriff.
we haven't answered.
Mayor Villaraigosa, this next question is for you. In 2008, California voters voted for a high-speed rail system from L.A. to San Francisco that was supposed to be done by 2020 and cost around $30 billion. It's now 2026. It's not even close to being done, and the estimated cost has ballooned to $230 billion. Mayor, your opponent, Steve Hilton, says that on his first day in office, he would kill this project, quote, stone dead. Would you?
No. And let me just first speak about waste and fraud. I can acknowledge that there has been waste and fraud in this state. There was 250 million in just one hospice facility. We spent $24 billion on homelessness, and homelessness went up. Why would I continue to support high-speed rail? Because when the subway to the sea was dead and I became mayor, I said I was going to bring in the best and the brightest from around the world. We did. And then
hey, shout out to Mercado Media in the chat. What's up, Merc?
Approve it. And that subway is going to get built. We've had incompetence, maybe fraud, but for sure, we've made mistakes with respect to this. As governor, I will do what I did as mayor, build more transportation than anybody in the United States of America.
Mr. Hilton.
So high-speed rail is an example of the fraud. They've spent billions of dollars. I don't know where the money's gone. It certainly hasn't gone into building anything that actually works. And I just want to make one broader point about fraud. I'm actually running this race in a different way than we've seen before. I've put together a team to run with me for the other statewide offices, and along with my running mate,
hey guys, throw Mercado Media some subs if you haven't.
Attorney General, and Gloria Romero for Lieutenant
Governor. Extremely good on the ground journalism and takes
our surveys so far suggest that there, in the last 5 years in California, we've had $425 billion of fraud. That's around $80 billion a year, around 20% of the budget.
Thank you, sir.
And our team is going to stop it and prosecute it and give money back to
sir.
Alex, if I could just chime in on this.
Please, everyone, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.
Denial certainly is running a campaign in a different way. But look, on high-speed rail, it shouldn't cost us more to get to Modesto than it's cost us to get to the moon. And it's not either or. The answer is accountability. We are spending billions of dollars before we ever put a shovel in the ground, paying consultants and lawyers for endless bureaucracy. As governor, I will demand fundamental reform of CEQA, of all of the rules, the environmental laws, the litigation around these projects so that we get to building faster. It goes back to your climate point as well. We can't modernize our grid if we can't build.
Thank you, sir. Congresswoman Porter,
Put
this question
Elon
is to you.
Musk
Let's
in
talk
charge.
about
God, here
biggest
she
industries
comes.
here in
Put
California.
Elon Musk in charge of the rail. It'll get built.
Film production has been leaving Hollywood for years.
Get out of my
State
shot!
Recently expanded the film tax credit to $750 million in an effort to bring those productions back. Some of your opponents here on stage think that tax credit should be unlimited. Do you?
Yes, I think we need to be competitive in California. I see a lot of people who've been in office 30 years in California, been in different elected positions on this stage, and they're patting themselves on the back when we didn't acknowledge that we are in a competition in California. It's much more expensive and much more difficult to bring any industry back than it is to hang on to it in the first place. So California's in competition. It's a competition we can and must win. We have the most talented workforce. We have the best higher education system, but we do have to have competitive policies.
Mayor Villaraigosa.
You know, when I was mayor of Los Angeles, I'd walk down a red carpet and I'd say the following, that the jobs behind the camera are more important than the people in front. 200,000 jobs we had, and we've lost them. This election is an existential election for Hollywood. So, yes, we do need an unlimited, uncapped tax credit. 1. 2, it needs to be above and below the line. The notion, too many people in Sacramento believe it should just go to camera operators and, you know,
it's up to
people. It has to go to everyone.
That's
and
time,
707
so that's
here.
what I'll do when I'm governor.
All right, while we're on the topic of Hollywood, let's give the voters a chance to get to know you all a little bit. This is a rapid fire question. You know, we've done this stuff in the past.
So tax
for
the
each of you.
billionaires and then give them tax
Which
breaks?
actor would you want to play you in a movie about your life?
Liam
I'm going
Neeson.
to each of you think of which actor would play you in a movie about your life. Mayor Mahan, starting with you.
Oh, boy.
Keanu Reeves.
You're going to have to come back to me. I don't know.
I got one.
Russell Crowe in The Gladiator. How's that?
Okay. Javier Becerra.
Antonio Banderas.
Oh, damn. All right. All right.
I have no idea.
Tom Selleck?
Yeah. I guess that would be a good one. Clint Eastwood.
Okay. Mr. Hilton?
Jeffrey
I think
Epstein.
there's only one choice, really. Jason Statham.
Oh, I was wrong.
Okay,
I was
Mr.
wrong.
Steyer.
that was good.
Gregory Peck.
Gregory Peck. Okay, the coming back, I guess, to do that. Mr. Congresswoman Porter.
Tina Fey.
All right,
What?
Mr. Mayor.
At the Hollywood event when I was mayor, Antonio
George
Banderas
Lopez.
said he wanted to play me. So I said
Oh, my
yes. So
God.
I got to go with Antonio
We're getting
Banderas.
Antonio
Continue
Banderas lots
ass
of work
MAGA
doing this
mega
tonight.
church.
Or at least
George
increasing
Lopez.
his job out of this. We'll be
Antonio.
back with more of the California governor debate right here
Jesus.
on CNN.
This is getting rough, man. This is getting
Welcome back to the California governor primary debate. It is no secret to anyone on this stage tonight that this race has a very crowded field. And there are a lot of voters that are undecided, and many of them might be having some trouble distinguishing you from one another, seeing what sets you each of you apart in your campaigns. And so we want to give you an opportunity to tell us one characteristic that sets you apart from everyone else on stage here tonight. You have 30 seconds each. Mayor Villaraigosa, I'll start with you.
When I make a mistake, I'm accountable. I'm willing to say I made a mistake. When I have to take on my friends because there's a big, tough issue, I'm willing to do it. I think character matters, and I have the character to be governor of this state. I'm willing to take on my friends. It's easy to take on your opponents, but when you can take on your friends in a crisis, that's the measure of a man or woman.
Congresswoman?
I have shown time and time again that I am willing to push for politics to be better, for government to be better. I'm the only candidate on this stage that refuses corporate donations. That's something that year after year, election after
1%.
election, Californians say they're tired of having candidates who are beholden to their donors rather than fighting for them. We have to live our values in California and elect someone who will only focus on the future of California.
Click the link to
not
come up
on
and
giving
give
away
commentary if
campaign
you want
favors.
to give your
Mr.
opinion.
Steyer?
This is a simple campaign because corporations are driving up the cost for working Californians to a place where they can't afford it. And I'm the person taking on the corporate special interests. I've beaten them in the past 3 times, and they are spending millions, tens of millions of dollars against me. That's how you know that I'm the person who wants to change things, because they're spending tens of millions of dollars against me. Working people are supporting me. Environmentalists are supporting me. Progressives are supporting me. I'm the change agent on this stage.
And
Environmentalists,
Mr.
that's the
Hilton, what's the
problem.
characteristic that defines you from the rest of the stage?
Well, if you ask my wife and my sons, often to their great embarrassment, it's that I absolutely hate bureaucracy and ridiculous, pointless rules and regulations that crush the life out of people and businesses and daily experience that we have. And so I just want to tell everyone, I'm going to be relentless, absolutely relentless in fighting the nonsense that makes life so difficult for each and every one of you. I will not rest until we restore sanity to our beautiful state of California.
Sheriff Bianco?
Yeah, I'm the only one on this stage that has 33 years of proven public service. The decisions that I make have life and death consequences, and those decisions are made on a daily basis, and I'm the only one that makes those. I'm also the only one on this stage that is working every single day with the consequences of the failed policies of everyone else on this stage. And the difference is I'm not one of them.
Secretary Becerra, what's your characteristic?
I think the fact that I have the experience to take on the toughest challenges, whether it's Donald Trump in his first term or whether it was COVID, something we'd not experienced in our lifetime. I've been able to prove that I can balance a budget bigger than the budget of the state of California. I've proven that I know how to tackle a national state of emergency because I've had to do that in the past as Secretary of Health and Human Services.
Almost
and I
got fired by
that I can
Biden.
fight, but more importantly, I can win. And so when someone goes into that governor's office, they're going to have to take a chair and there will not be training wheels there for them. You have to deliver. And I have a proven record of delivering results. I don't just make inflated promises.
Mayor Mahan?
I'm relentless about delivering results in people's lives. I started my career as a public school teacher in East Side San Jose and fought every day to get each of my students on grade level. As mayor, when the bureaucracy and the establishment pushed back against solutions that would get people into treatment, or thought that it was okay to spend $1 million a door and make people wait out in tent encampments to come indoors, I fought against that. When people said we couldn't build housing, I fought to speed up permitting and reduce fees, and now we have homes under construction. I'll fight every day to make life better for Californians.
Thank you, Mayor Mahan. Thank you to all the candidates for joining us here tonight for CNN's California Governor Primary Debate. Thank you to Alex Michelson and to our whole team. And also a special thank you to our host, East Los Angeles.
If you guys want to give your opinions who you think won, there's a call-in link in the chat. You click it, it brings you straight up here with me. We have up to like 11 or 12 people up here at once. Call in. If you think, oh, Brandon, you're wrong, this, that, call in. Tell me what you think. Because I am under the belief that liberals/progressives cannot explain what they believe. I believe the left is a fragmented movement that is only tied together by their collective hatred of Trump. And I believe once Trump is gone, they will disintegrate and we will be left holding the pieces of their ineptitude, right? Click the link, come up. Tell me what you think. Who do you think won? I mean, me personally, I think the only person talking straight to the California citizens was Chad Bianco. Then Steve Hilton, he's just running on common sense. And at a time like this, when people can't even tell you what's a woman, common sense is better because it's not going to rock the boat. We need to get behind Chad. I agree. I like Chad. But I also think if we get too close and Chad hasn't run it up in the polls, if he doesn't get any of this 26% undecided left, then we got to start considering moving towards Steve. Do not lose your ability to even be in the primary because you're so hardened on voting for Bianco. And I believe Bianco, if he doesn't get the bump he needs to encourage people to vote for Chad. And they could be, what's up with your mic? All right, Joseph Poselli, can't hear you. Joseph, get your mic together, Joseph. You're up here, but static. All right, so he's probably a Democrat. They're mad right now. I don't see how people listen to the Democrats utterly destroy each other and then say, "Hey, I'm gonna still pick one of them." They destroyed their own party. Like they were literally like, "Oh, you suck and this won't work and you did this that was illegal and all this stuff." So yeah, Mahan was the best, but he's a fraud. Go ahead, Alan. Andalon. Hold on, I can't hear you, Alan. Are you muted or do you have something going on with your... Check your boxes. Check your audio boxes. Let me see. Go ahead. Try to talk now.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I fixed your mic.
Okay, great. I'm from LA. And
can you turn your volume up a little bit? And what you need to do is stop the playback. Don't run the playback at the same time.
Got it. The playback is not running right now.
YouTube is not running in the background? Because I hear myself doubled up.
I got rid of YouTube.
Okay.
So, yeah, the way I see it is none of the Democrats make sense. It's all of the same. It's the same thing that we've been hearing year after year after year after year. They're all covering for each other. Maybe the outliner that I see is maybe Antonio Villaraigosa. He's trying to kind of go to the middle because he's trying to appeal to both Republicans, conservatives, and Democrats. So he's trying to give himself a bump and trying to steal from both Chad and Steve Hilton. But the way I see it, I mean, I've met with Steve Hilton personally, and I've asked him a lot of questions. I am actually voting for Steve Hilton, although I do like Chad Bianco in some of his hardliner stance that he has, especially with law and order and the reputation that he has in California. But Steve Hilton has all the momentum right now. So we do have to get behind a candidate that can actually go the distance. Even though I do like Chad so much right now, I would prefer Chad Bianco, but Steve Hilton has the momentum. He has the common sense. He has the personality. He's been on Fox News, so a lot of people do trust him. And we do see that in the polls because he's been consistently on the top of the polls every single time. I think I lost you.
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
No problem. So that's really my take on it. Right now, Steve Hilton has the advantage. He does have the team that is together. I did meet with them when he was here in Downey about a week ago. So I did get to meet Gloria Romero that he's running against. So he's got some very solid people that are with him. So he's using the same strategy that Trump did when he was running in 2024, where if you vote for him, you get everybody else. We get RFK Jr. We also get Elon. We get all these people that are assembling like the Avengers, right? So he's kind of doing some of the same, where he's got Gloria Romero's. He has also the person from Huntington Beach. I forget his name, but he's running also with him. So we're getting a lot of good people that are coming in at the same time to be able to kind of like fix California. I really like the way he comes across. He has a lot of great ideas that we need here in California. We desperately need here in California. And he is changing a lot of minds. He is the person that has a little bit more broad appeal than Chad Bianco. And that's why I feel that he is going to be the person that is going to make it to the top of the ticket.
Well, I love. I don't know why I have playback. Hold on. But anyway, I know what's going on. Hold on one second. Can you? Can you hear me still?
I could hear you.
Yeah, I don't know why. Do I sound like I'm doubled up?
No, you don't.
Okay, cool. Then we're good. All right, so basically, I like Chad Bianco as well a lot. That's probably my preference, just because he's been dealing with these people a long time, and he's coming from a legal approach, like based on the law. So it'd be very hard for them to try to manipulate him or to fight him, because let's be real, the Democrat Party in California is extremely lazy. They've grown used to just groupthink. I say this, everybody gets on board with it. But if you approach it from the position of law, legality, that to me is their kryptonite, because they're not paying attention to the law, because the people who vote for them have allowed them to violate the law with impunity for so long. There's so many things that Gavin Newsom did that were illegal, like when he did the green energy EV mandate, banning the engine and all that stuff by 2030. You can't do that without a vote. He just did it. He just did an executive order. So, but if I can't get Chad, I got to get behind Steve, and I'm a Trump supporter. So Trump endorsed him, and I do believe Steve will be somebody who is heavily leaning upon the Trump administration for day-to-day kind of guidance. But I'm not going to lie to you. We need that. If we go all the way Trump, that would simply just balance out the hyperliberalism in California. So I don't think that would be a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. The other thing that I was going to bring up is that we cannot forget what happened in 2020 during those lockdowns. And I think we have to remind everybody, especially here in California, people, the independents and maybe some of the disaffected Democrat voters, what happened when Gavin Newsom and then Javier Becerra locked us down during those 2020 years during the pandemic. I mean, how could we have that kind, if they did it once, they can do it again. You know, they just showed how tyrannical California could get, and we were the most locked down state in the United States. I mean, you can't even go to the beach alone to, you know, enjoy a day outside in the sun until someone goes and nabs you and arrests you. So that alone kind of, you know, really speaks to their track record, especially Javier Becerra. You know, and I liked how you pointed out earlier how he was saying there was no kids that were missing, and you pointed the facts. About 66,000 kids were missing, and a lot of them have been found all over California. And I wouldn't doubt that a lot of them have been moved to other states for slave labor. And those are the things that people need to know about how corrupt and fraudulent a lot of these Democrats are. So I'm glad that you were able to bring that up and to really show the people who we're dealing with. And this is why it is important that either we get Steve in or Chad. But the way I'm seeing it now in the polls, Chad is kind of going up and down. He's kind of in between Javier Becerra and Steve, Tom Steyer. So the momentum is with Steve. I think we should back Steve as a coalition. Nothing about that we don't like Chad. I mean, we love Chad as well too, but we need to get behind someone because this is our only chance. This is our best chance to get someone, a Republican, inside the government.
No, 100. I don't know why I have a dang echo. I'm trying my best to deal with that, but I don't know what's going on.
I'll close YouTube altogether.
Yeah, close YouTube. Totally.
I closed YouTube. I'm on your stream now.
Okay. Dang. So I guess that's just me. Sorry guys about the echo. I'm trying to figure it out, but I don't. Hold on. I'm gonna just restart this. Hold on. What's it? Okay, let's see if that. No, that. Hold on. Okay, can you guys all hear me? Because if you guys can hear me and there's no echo now, that means it's his thing that's echoing. So I think that I have headphones on. I think so. You're picking up my voice again on your end, Alan. So just check and make sure you have everything closed. Yeah, it's Alan. Okay.
Yeah.
I hear it. Oh. Okay. Yeah. So when I mute you, I don't have an echo. So what I'll do is when I talk, I'll just mute you. We'll be good.
I think because you could still hear me either way.
Yes, I can still hear you. Okay, so we're good now. No, guys, I'll mute him when I talk. It's fine. So yeah, I agree with you 100%. Chad Bianco's people are Republicans are gonna have to do what I don't think Democrats are gonna be able to do. I think Democrats, they're gonna get so angry because there's like, let's be real, we're in California. There's an undertone of racism in this state, and I don't even think it's racism. I think it's cultural differences, and I think there's sympathy from certain people within our society for illegals, right? And I think there's a lot of people in California who are like, because you have two things. You have very logical thinking and business-minded, financially minded Democrats and Republicans who say, look, if we can't afford it, we got to eliminate it, right? That's how the rich get rich and stay rich. They don't waste money. But then you have this element that's like, well, we are so rich as a state. We're the fourth largest economy. So we should be able to just take on all these extra people and take care of them and subsidize them. That's where I think the break is in California. That's what this is coming down to. How many people love California so much that they want California to stay at the top? And how many people are willing to not California down economically in the name of toxic empathy. What do you think about that?
Okay, I'm unmuted, right?
You're good.
You're good. Yeah. No, I totally agree with you on that. But I've been listening to also Carl DeMaio, and Carl DeMaio really does have a pulse on California politics, on what's going on right now. And he's even saying that we do need to consolidate, unfortunately, and back one candidate. Otherwise, we're going to get Javier Becerra versus Tom Steyer. So if we don't want that happening, I mean, it's not that we don't want Chad. It's just that there's not enough support going out there. And Trump, which I think was a really bad mistake, he shouldn't have endorsed either candidate, but he did endorse Steve Hilton, and ever since then he was getting a bump in the polls. And since he got that bump and he's got that momentum behind him, we really got to consolidate behind Steve Hilton. I know some people don't like him. They're talking about him, he's a Brit, he came from, he's a Johnny come lately or whatever. My brother doesn't like him. But I even had to tell him, for the sake of the state, we do have to consolidate. Even though we do love Chad, maybe Chad could come in the future. Who knows, right? But we do have to consolidate behind one solid candidate because, unfortunately, this is a blue state. And with it being a plurality of Democrats, even the Democrats are out there kind of, chickens with the head cut off, trying to figure out which candidate they're going to back. What I'm seeing here is that there's a lot of momentum behind Javier Becerra because of the Hispanic population. They identify with him. And he is going out there trying to pander to every single minority group out there. Okay. He's doing the same playbook that, Hillary Clinton was doing when she was over here, like, my hot sauce that I have in my purse. She came to King Taco here in LA to brag that she has hot sauce in her purse. I'm down with the Mexicans, I'll eat tacos. But a lot of that stuff is just fake. It's all performative. It's exactly what, who's the one that said performative? Antonio Villaraigosa said performative during the debate about Gavin Newsom. They said, name one word for Gavin. He said performative. So a lot of these Democrats are real performative because all they're doing is doing the will of their backers. So notice none of them want to cut the funding for the railroad, okay, for the high-speed rail. None of them want to cut it because there's a lot of money backed in there. They already have their special interest groups that are already lined up, and they're saying, hey, keep that money flowing, right? That's how these guys could launder such large amounts of money, right? They all want to pass the Stop Nick Shirley Act because they don't want their fraud to get uncovered. And that's a conversation I had with Steve Hilton, and Steve Hilton said personally to me that he's going to put a stop to that. And if it does pass, he's going to repeal it.
Yeah. So, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. Like, a lot of people are like, well, how can a Republican governor, work with the Democrat legislature? Well, he gets to appoint people to the regulatory boards, right? And let's be real, once you're the man in charge, everyone kind of tries to, pander to you, so suck up to you so they can, move up the ladder. Because if you believe that the California state legislature representatives are not ambitious, they are. They're just not talented, a lot of them, to move up, but they are ambitious. But yeah, I don't see why a person wouldn't just move over to Hilton if things don't change when it gets, close to where the voting happens and all that. And it's like, you just got to do what makes sense. You got to do what the Democrats refuse to do. And one thing too, a lot of people are like, we want to wait to vote in person. I was told by someone, don't wait to vote in person because they throw away every ballot where the signature doesn't match the ID, all types of stuff. So if you vote, through the mail or whatever, you vote early. If you vote early, it gives you a chance to like correct anything. If it's not right, I guess they would still have to count your vote. It's a lot of things that are tricky in California, but yeah, I don't even understand how a Democrat could see what's going on in this state and still be like, yeah, let me vote for these guys. You either have to be a person who's on some type of government entitlement that you don't want to give up. You have to be someone who's immune to the negative effects of Democrat, leadership. And it's like, I don't think anyone is. So I just think everyone has to do some soul searching and just be honest with themselves. People to always blame leaders. Oh, this guy's a bad leader. Well, bad people elect bad leaders. And you might not want to believe that. And all of us are not bad. But there's if Steyer or Becerra get elected, we know that the rot in California may not be fixable without some type of federal intervention. But Javier Becerra he was at 2%. And then boom, he's up to 18%. And I'm like, and also we need to know, be careful with the polls, because the polls are real funny. But that just means everyone just jumped on that. Because what was Eric Swalwell? Business as usual. And Javier Becerra was the next business as usual candidate. So do we have a majority of Californians who want to do business as usual as their gas prices skyrocket, roads look worse than ever? I was driving around downtown Long Beach. I said, these guys keep talking about gas taxes for roads. These roads look like shit. So where's the money going? So it's all fraud. And the mere fact that they would even entertain a Stop Nick Shirley bill, that tells you that they're stealing. The mere fact that they would try to take Chad Bianco to the Supreme Court, that shows you that they're trying to do election fraud. So, people, one thing about California, everyone says they're woke, but are you really woke? Are you just somebody who's willingly asleep and paying and refusing to pay attention to what's going on right in front of your face? You go ahead.
Well, I agree with you on a lot that you're saying. But I believe the woke people are a minority. Okay.
Truly woke.
That are truly woke. Okay. If you go to the belly of the beast, if you go to Atwater Village, West Hollywood, or Hollyweird, that's the belly of the beast. They're the minority. Now, the problem is in messaging, okay? Especially within the Hispanic community, because it's a big voting bloc. Now, a lot of them aren't really, I'd say, educated in politics, okay? Because they come home and, from a long day of work, and what do? They turn on the TV, and whatever the propaganda is on TV is what they believe, right? Because they trust all of their sources. They trust these sources coming from whether it's Univision or Telemundo or all these other Spanish language television. They're telling them what to think and how to think, right? But a lot of them are breaking away from that, because now we're having other, I'd say, voices, conservative voices, coming on social media, as like on YouTube or Rumble or even Instagram. You're getting a lot of conservative voices, so they're getting to become more and more educated when it comes down to politics, and being able to hear both sides, because a lot of things really just don't make sense, right? How is it that we were able to vote for a gas tax? Okay. Why? Because the messaging was tricked. The government in California are tricking people to vote into these laws by rewording some of the ballots, just like they did in Virginia. In Virginia, they reworded the ballots to get people to try to vote to gerrymander the state. And now the Supreme Court stepped in, or their Supreme Court stepped in. They saw what happened, and they put a stop to it. That's what needs to happen in California too, because a lot of the wording is misleading, and that is coming from the Democrats in Sacramento that are using this deceptive language.
Well, here's the thing. If you purposely undereducate your population, they won't even have the comprehension ability to really understand that you're tricking them, right? We probably are a part of the last group who got a real education in the state of California. Go talk to the kids now. My daughter is a 4.0 student, but part of the reason she has so much common sense and works hard is because I sat with her when she was little and read, and you need to think about this and think about that. These kids, you ask them a question that requires critical thinking, their response is, they're saying, I don't know too fast. They don't even want to take a second to think about something challenging. And so when they become voters, they'll be more moved by things that, that like hit at their emotions, right? More so than things that require them to think critically or, logically. So, and that's why you see the Democrats, they speak in these like very generalized terms. Every human being has the right to health care. Well, I do believe that, but they're not saying, do you want to pay for this person's health care? This is how much it's going to cost. This is how much we're going to have to take out of every check you get paid for the rest of your life. That question elicits a different response. But you can agree. It's like, I don't know who said this, but I heard it somewhere. These people, it's like toxic empathy. And it's like the definition of that is the messaging is more important than the actual result, right? All people have a right to health care. Health care is a human right. Housing is a human right. Well, yeah, that's the messaging. And we can generally agree that people should have the ability to live indoors. But then you ask the real question, should we rob one person to provide for another person who may or may not want that, who may or may not be in a position where they can be a responsible steward of that? Do we put the crackhead in a house when all he's going to do is make it a crack house? Or do we get him the help he needs and make him prove that he's qualified to receive the charity of his fellow Americans? They'll never ask the questions like that. Just sweeping general manipulation tactics, right? Or terminology. And I'm sick of it. I hate it as a Californian.
Totally agree with you. Now, people are talking about, healthcare is a right. I mean, we do have safety nets for healthcare. And that's what people don't understand, is that we do have safety nets. If someone is sick and they need some kind of emergency health, that's why we have the ER. Okay? That's why we have Medi-Cal and Medicare. We do already have these safety nets already set in place. Now, when it comes down to general health care for your own health care, we have some of the best in the world. I mean, if you go to Canada, just look at their national health service. Same thing in the UK. It's terrible. People have to wait literally months or even years to get a surgery that we can get the very next week if we need to. And that is just the problem there. I get to see both sides of the fence of whether we should have single payer or not. And single payer has been done before. We've seen it before. I mean, there's single payer if you go to Native American reservations. Just look at how single payer is really working for them. Same thing with the VA. VA has been broken for many years, and that is, a form of socialized healthcare. So I'm a health and life insurance agent, so I do get to see a lot of the things that happen, really behind the curtain. And one of the things is you don't really get to appreciate how good our healthcare system until you really use it. And when you have your insurance that you pay for, you get to see how well the doctors are getting paid for. We got some of the best doctors. We got some of the best technology. We got some of the best life-saving services here. And a lot of that has been done because of private investment, because we have a lot of private companies that are out there innovating. you get a lot of money out there, so you can have these medical companies to go and innovate for, better healthcare, rather than having the state to do the funding for innovations on private healthcare. You really don't see healthcare moving the needle in places like Australia or like Canada or like the UK or even the Netherlands, or some people even say, oh, we got to use the Scandinavian method. Well, guess what? A lot of them come here for their healthcare. Okay. You go to Latin America, the same deal. Okay. Healthcare isn't as good. A lot of the doctors there are not paid really well, so they're not really incentivized to do a very good job. Especially you go to Mexico to go get healthcare. Some people go to Mexico for their dental. I understand it's cheaper. You're getting some of that stuff over there, but when you get your healthcare done over here, you're not going to get botched work. You could trust that a lot of your doctors and your dentists are, board certified and are going to do some good work. A lot of, women going out to, places like Colombia or even to Mexico to get their BBLs done, they're coming back botched, and they're coming back, so they have to pay double to a private plastic surgeon here to reverse what they did out in Colombia, right? Or even in Cancun, Mexico. And some of them don't even make it. Some of them pass away because of botched procedures. So we really have to look at what we have here. We are a free market. We're not a socialist country. A lot of people want to be able to bring socialism and socialist ideologies to the United States. It just doesn't work here. Whatever works in Italy does not work in the United States. Whatever works in the Netherlands does not work here. Whatever works in Spain or in Scandinavia is not going to work here, because it's these are homogenous countries, mostly homogenous. So when you come to United States, there's so many different people here. We have a lot of people here. So we need a way to be able to balance healthcare, right? So when someone just really realizes how good we have it here, especially talk to people that come from other countries and ask them, how well is your healthcare? How well is the NHS out in Canada, the NHS in the UK? It's not as good as they make it sound. So
and there's a certain one thing you get here is accountability, right? Go see how many people have sued the Canadian health system successfully in Canada in the last 50 years or whatever. We in America, we pay, so there's accountability. We pay, so if someone messes us up, we can hold them accountable and sue them and get some money, compensation, all that stuff. In Kenya, I go there often. They have a healthcare system called the NHIF, right? Yeah, it's free healthcare, but it sucks. You never get seen. You're in some rundown, dirty hospital looking crazy. And so it's like, is that what Americans really want? Do you really want to reduce your healthcare? Do you want to bring your healthcare system to its knees, to where it can't even take care of you? In Canada, they have something that most Americans have never heard of. It's called MAID. Medical assisted suicide, right? Basically, you're gonna medical aid in death. So, dude, you're old. You're 75 years old, right? You break your arm. They're like, well, we could just kill you. We could just are you interested in us just helping you die so that you don't have to deal with this? And it's more of it eases the burden on the economy, right? On the medical system. A lady, I just read a story today. A lady broke her arm. They offer her medically assisted suicide. And then she said no. She went to the US, got her arm fixed, split it up and everything. And she then went and climbed a mountain after that. So she had a lot of life left in her, but they're just like, the bill is going too high. And if that's bankrupting Canada, right? Do you think it won't bankrupt California? It's just a bunch of stuff that sounds good, pie in the sky type crap. People want champagne service for beer prices. That's what my grandfather used to say. They want champagne service for beer prices. And when you hear the people calling for this, it's usually either people who don't work, young people who still depend on their parents, college students, people like that. But if you just bring it down to the lowest common denominator, how much of your check in Canada, you give 25% of your check to the medical apparatus. They, before you get your money, they take 25% of it and say, this is for your free healthcare. So is it really free, or are you just paying for healthcare that you may or may not use? Are you paying for people who don't care about their health? We have free healthcare here, subsidized already. I live in Long Beach, that's LA County. They have Harbor General Hospital right in Torrance. You can go there. If you don't have money, you don't pay. Surgery, whatever. Even rich people in California go there so they don't have to spend their money to get medical treatment. It's free based on income. If you truly can't afford it, there's places you can go. You can go to the county office, get emergency Medi-Cal. They'll give that to you where everything's covered if you cannot afford it. Or if you can, they'll cover most of it. You pay a little bit of it. We have so much subs in California. All children in California are already guaranteed health coverage. All children. So when they keep telling you, well, every man, woman, and child, they're lying to you. They're trying to get Californians to agree to give them a blank check. That's why they keep saying, well, we want it, but we don't know how to pay for it. Well, they do. They get you, they basically write themselves a blank check, and they just throw taxes on you anytime they feel like it. And that's what it will result in. They'll keep doing these, one-time tax. Well, you can do a one-time tax every 3 months, right? And that's what they're trying to move to, but we're not going to let it happen. I mean, if California is the state I think it is, we're not going to let it happen. And if it does happen, then it's just time for me to move to somewhere where I have more like-minded people. But go ahead, give me your final thoughts. Take as much time as you want. I appreciate you coming up, Alan, and you're always welcome.
Thank you very much, Brandon. And again, you're spitting facts. Really, what I see overall, right? Overall, with this debate and the other debates that I've been seeing, the Democrats have no solutions at all. And I think this is a good representation of what we can expect, because again, a lot of them are performative. We've already discussed that. Antonio Villaraigosa, Hot Steaming Potatoes, Katie Porter, and then you have Tom Steyer, which is a billionaire. I mean, he just really doesn't care. He just wants to run to be able to help his billionaire friends and donors so he could get in there and he could help them out and get tax breaks, right? And then, of course, you have the only two that I believe are viable is Chad Bianco and Steve Hilton that are willing to make these big changes. And again, if we can get behind at least one, and that's going to have to be Steve Hilton, we could get him through the finish line. He's going to be the more moderate candidate, especially for Democrats, because even Democrats see him in a favorable light, right? Whereas in Chad Bianco, they see him a little bit more to the hard right, even though I do like him a lot. But we really do need to come together to be able to get him through the finish line. Otherwise, like I said, we're going to have Tom Steyer and Javier Becerra, these two frauds in there. So that's really my final thoughts. Is one more thing that I wanted to bring up when we're talking about healthcare is what happened last month. I'm not sure if you heard of a death panel in Spain that happened to this one young girl. She was a young girl that unfortunately got raped by an illegal African immigrant. She had to go through a lot of recovery. She couldn't walk, but she had the will to live. And the Spanish government came in. I guess they didn't have enough money to continue her health care, and they decided to terminate her life against the wishes of her family. Her family couldn't even go in there and stop it. So when you're talking about government health care, they have death panels. They have them also in Canada. So that's what's coming if you want the single payer. That's what's coming if you want to vote for Democrats. That's what's coming if the Democrats take over California, but the United States. when they're talking about single payer and we're talking about socialized healthcare or healthcare for all, healthcare is a right, it's a Trojan horse. Just know that. Because you're not paying for it. The government's going to be paying for it. We're going to be paying for it from our taxes. But they're really going to get some very evil people on these boards. You haven't seen these people yet. I mean, we're talking about, Emperor Palpatine type of people, WHO type of people, and NGOs, and some of the worst kind of people out there. The abortionists are going to be on these boards. It's just like, you give them an inch and they're going to start taking miles. They're going to start putting in all these woke reforms, all these, things to be able to control you. So if anything, paying for your own healthcare, your own private healthcare is cheap compared to what they want to do for you. But that's just my take on it. And I, thank you for having me on and hearing me out. Just keep doing what you're doing. I'm really supporting, the streaming and the takes that you're taking, and I hope it will bring more influence and more ideas to all the voters out there that are watching this.
No, 100%. You want to let the same people who run the DMV, where it takes you 4 hours to get a ticket and do 2 seconds worth of paperwork, you want to let them be in control of healthcare. Then the same people who wrote up Obamacare that skyrocketed in cost to where the government had to subsidize it. You think that if they get you on the hook for universal health care, they're not going to just raise that tax whenever they feel like it? Hey, we got to raise this. And they'll probably put something in there that allows a gradual increase in the taxes with a cap on it. Okay, well, yeah, first we'll start at 5% or 10%, then it'll go up to as high as like 30, 40%. And my thing is this: these people aren't doctors or anything else, but they're just like, they know what's best for the health of every single American. It's just a ruse. It never works. It's not ever going to work. You got people in the comments, oh, Tom Steyer is the most progressive candidate. He's funded by Bernie. Listen, man, let me tell you something. If you are silly enough to believe that Democrats are going to screw over the billionaires who donate to their campaigns, you're dumb. Kamala Harris raised $1 billion from billionaires last election. Do you really think the Democrats are going to give up all that money to bite the hand that feeds them? They won't. That's like saying Trump's going to go against Israel. It ain't happening. Even Democrats aren't going to go against Israel. So it's just like, it's certain things that happen that if you're really thinking, that they're never going to go away as long as you live, because they lasted longer than your grandparents. So don't be gullible. Don't get duped. Don't let these people make you think they can turn water to wine. They can't. They're not. And the one thing I liked about the debate is they were tearing each other apart, admitting that they didn't know how they were going to pay for universal health care. But then Porter is still sitting up there saying, do you believe in universal health care? Well, this is politics, not church. This is not religion where you just got to keep believing and then eventually it's going to happen. No. And Steyer said he didn't believe in universal health care. So if in Becerra, he said he doesn't believe in universal health care as also. So tell me this. He says he believes health care is a human right, but he knows that we can't pay for it. So if you're voting for these people for those things, you're just not paying attention. You're just not paying attention, and you're voting for the wrong reasons. If you're not going to vote for the right reasons, stay home. Don't ruin the state because you feel like you just got to vote for somebody who looks like you, or you just got to vote for somebody who's endorsed by Bernie Sanders. Go look at their policies or lack thereof and then do that. That's what I do. I've looked at the policies of everyone. I'm telling you, Villaraigosa probably would be the best choice for the Democrats because he's straight up business as usual. He ain't going to change nothing. The rest of these guys, wolves in sheep's clothing, and they're going to tax you even more. And Villaraigosa was right when he said he did finish that train from all the way to the ocean. He did. I remember. I have friends who worked on that project. He did do that. So yeah, he will. I believe he would finish the high-speed rail project, but not before he takes a king's share of the new taxpayer taxpayer dollars that are pumped into it. That's the only reason I believe he would continue that project, because he's like, yeah, because I could steal a little bit more and then we'll get it done. But yeah, guys, just be smart, stay woke, whatever you need to tell yourself to do the right thing. Thank you, Alan. I appreciate you coming up. Anytime, you're welcome. And guys, listen, thank you for everything you do for this channel. I appreciate y'all. Till the next time, take care of yourselves. But most importantly, please take care of each other.